Reserve, library revenue, and so I pulled those out, and then I went and used the numbers to balance. And I couldn't make heads or tails of it, so I had to do it that way to come up with numbers that would.
Well, wouldn't the next one down below that, instead of being 24?
Right, the next one below that should be 22.
22.
And the Cook revenue, library return was 4,000, and they anticipated 18,000. But that's back on another page, so I don't know what the 4 was there. I don't know what that 4,000 was from.
Like if you go up for the swim program where they get, it's on page 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 16 down. 0, 1, 3, 4, 0, 1.71. Swim program patron fund, that's money that they get from, I believe, the Warrant Foundation, so. Tamworth Foundation, so if they don't get that, it's not really revenue to us.
It's anticipated.
It's anticipated revenue. So I guess we could separate it out with revenue and then anticipated revenue, so that if you don't get what you anticipate, then you don't count it into your revenue.
Well, this is all anticipated revenue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so is
I
it
mean,
all
but-
anticipated?
But I mean, separate it out from what we are anticipating from just taxes and stuff like that
The
versus,
taxes aren't even on,
well, I was looking at the yield,
that's timber yield. That's timber tax or
excavation.
gravel tax.
Right.
I mean, almost everything I see is anticipated.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just I had trouble when the numbers wouldn't jive, I had to come to some way so that they would.
And that's why you do this, and then you do this again
Yep,
in August,
Yeah,
so that you get closer to what your revenues are gonna be, because those are, it's really a crapshoot.
Right, we have some of them that are done by state statute, so they may change, when the legislature changes, there may be changes in our
Exactly.
revenue.
Yeah. So these are best guesses, really.
yeah,
Best
of
guesses.
course, yeah.
But I tried to get our best guesses down because we actually have to expend a fair amount of money, so people ought to know what the bottom line's gonna be as far as the tax bill at the end of the time.
Yeah, and after tonight, everything will be finalized. So if there's a number on here that needs to be changed, or you change something tonight, then that'll be fixed for the reports for town meeting.
In the estimated revenue.
What's that?
In the estimated revenue you're speaking?
In any
Yeah.
of them, if you change any of the budgets or anything like that tonight. after the-
So I mean, my thought is maybe to, we go into these numbers on the side that are corresponding to some other thing, but like we got the new grant for the fire truck and those numbers should be changed.
the library.
Some of this money, yes, is coming in, but it didn't mesh,
Sure,
didn't add up.
sure.
So that's why I did it the way I did it.
And even if you look at the actuals from 2019, 2020 projected is pretty conservative.
Well, no,
Yeah, go look at the actuals,
well, yeah.
and then look at what's projected, they're all pretty conservative compared to,
They should be.
yeah. Further questions on that? We're doing on time. Alrighty, hearing no further questions. To discuss suggestions for changes to the traffic and road regulation policy? We're gonna do that.
We
on
need
the-
to hold off on
I
that
think we tabled that
till
until we
next
get
week.
those other
Have some more,
RSAs and stuff and go look at them.
I think we need to have some, and plus I think Richard's gonna need to be here for that, Richard's Roberts, the road agent.
Yes.
So maybe he could be invited to our work session and we could do that early to get him out of here early.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
We can do that first thing on the agenda to get him
Can
out
you
of
tell
here.
people that the green and the yellow sheets and the warrant, all the copies are up there if people want them? I don't know if everybody has copies.
I'll pass around, how's that?
Thank you, Dana.
Spread the
Yellow
wealth.
is the revenue, green is expenditure, and that's the warrant. There you go.
Selectmen's update?
There's a CC broadband meeting, February 13th in Comeau at 10 a.m. at the Economic Development Building. I'm hoping, I'm praying we can have a sewer committee meeting, a sewer commissioners meeting. Either somewhere
Say what?
next week or the following week.
Oh, yeah, we'll get
Set
by.
the budget, but we gotta set the rates. And see what else we're gonna do, and we've been looking at, getting wireless alarms put down there so that they won't ring out loud, they'll actually ring to somebody's cell phone so they can respond. And looking at how, well, with our new board member, we're gonna be looking at the ordinances. We didn't get them completed last year, so we'll have to look at them and send them out for water. That's about it for me.
Will, you got anything?
The meeting this morning was canceled, and Meredith referenced the transfer stations regionalization, can be held on Monday, so hopefully that'll do. And other than that, I've just been sitting at the computer trying to figure out the budget.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing new. Does anybody have any public comment? Dave?
I'd like to make a comment about election integrity, which has been in the news recently.
Uh-huh.
I have complete confidence in the moderator and the town clerk. I don't have so much confidence in the ballot counting machine that we use. We've only had one occasion since we owned it to do a recount, and the results were not good. The machine reported more votes than the sum of all the candidates. When we went to do the recount, there were fewer ballots, physical ballots, and more votes. So a 1% error rate is not real good for a machine. And I'm not suggesting that the machine is faulty. It could be procedures, it could be anything. Unfortunately, the state law does not allow anybody to look at the ballots after the recount is completed, or to refeed them through the machine to be able to identify what the source of the problem is. But I think it's pretty clear that there are going to be efforts to disrupt our elections. I don't think we should have confidence that our current machine and the way we use it works. It may well be that 1,000 different people feeding ballots into the machine that causes errors. I don't know. I can't know. But
Dave, when are you talking about because this is the first I'm hearing that there was a discrepancy. When did this happen?
when we did a recount 2 years ago for the Selectmen's race, there were 3 candidates for 2 positions. We did a recount. The number of ballots reported on the tape, on the machine tape, and the number of votes didn't agree. It had an odd number of votes for an even number of ballots, which can't happen. And there were more ballots reported than were physically available for the recount. But there were more votes when we did the recount than were on the machine. So it's a hot mess. There's like a bunch of different errors, probably more than one, to come up with those mixed results. But you can't look at anything after the election officials declare that the recount is over. Nobody, the state law says nobody can look at it. And I understand why, for integrity purposes, you don't want people to look at things and mess with things and come up with other problems. But if it's not right,
Yeah, you hang on just a second.
Does that only count for a recount though? Or does it
that's the
count-
only time you get to look at it, so you don't know. We've never been able to audit the machine.
Okay, only test it.
You can test it with a few sample ballots,
Right.
but I spend my life doing systems testing.
No,
If you design a test and you get the results you're looking for, that's not the same as a volume test. Look at Iowa.
No, I understand that, I'm just saying, that was, the only time you can look at those and count them physically is if someone requests a recount.
And you can only do it for the rate that gets requested, and you can only do it while the recount is still in process.
Okay.
Kim, there's a question about 2 years ago that the ballot didn't show up with the same number as the recount. Does that machine have to be calibrated?
Yeah, we test it before every
I mean,
election.
does anybody come in and certify that it's calibrated?
Yeah, they do their maintenance once a year, and then the cards are coded. And then we go through a procedure of unclipping the bag and noting that it was opened because it's being tested, ballots being tested, and then we re-lock it up, and it's locked up until election day when it's opened, and the election day tape is first run to show all zeros, and then obviously election results at the end of the day.
Any particular reason why there should be a discrepancy between when you do
There may, if there's a discrepancy, it's, you know, there may be a spoiled ballot or something that went awry. I think I remember David and I talking about this election, and I didn't agree with it being off after we had done the recount and everything, so and if it was by a ballot, it wasn't anything that was.
It was 1% or less than 1%. And in that, it didn't change the result of that election.
Right.
Because there was enough difference between the various candidates, so it did not affect that election. But you can't do any better at doing hand counts, right? There's an error rate if you do a hand count. So I'm not suggesting that 1% is not good enough. Maybe it is. In some race, it may not be. That's what I'm saying.
So are you asking not to use the machine?
I'm just raising the issue of election integrity since it's been in the news.
Okay.
And the only chance we ever had to do a count,
Yep.
it didn't come out. There were more ballots reported than ballots available for the recount.
I think it was only by a couple.
It was a couple, but
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting, Kim, I'm not suggesting it's a bigger
No,
problem
that's okay.
than
I'm
what
just-
it was.
yeah.
But if there are 2 less ballots than what the machine reported, then my OCD head says that's an issue.
And I can't remember if they were ones that were spoiled or not spoiled, or whether they were.
Right, but a robust system ought to be able to handle spoiled ballots, jammed ballots. I mean,
Yeah,
a
it
system-
does.
a system
It
that-
does. There's error, there's still room for error, for human error, even with a
yes,
machine.
Right, and you got 1,000 people feeding them in,
Right.
no number of things could happen.
But there's room for human error hand counting too, so, yeah. it
No,
is.
I
Yeah.
absolutely say that you're not gonna get better than that. Like human, I just am raising the issue that. we
Alrighty,
Yeah.
thank you, Kim.
That's fine, yeah, thank you.
Should have brought
Anything
up before
further?
this tonight.
Huh?
Should have been brought up before tonight.
I brought it up 2 years ago. But the law only doesn't allow anything to be done, doesn't allow anybody to look at it after the fact.
All right, moving on. I think we can open it up to the public hearing.
There's
Welcome,
plenty of
everybody.
seats
Thank
in
you.
here, too, if people
Huh?
wanna- There's plenty of seats on this side if people want to come in.
Okay, does everybody have their green sheet?
Can you take that?
Dan, there might have been a public comment on green shirt.
You got a public comment? Can you stand up, say your name for,
I'm Whipple Roberts. I'm here for the public hearing, just to hear what it's about and learn what's going on.
Okay.
thank you, Whipple. Anybody else need a green sheet? Or the yellow sheet? Okay, I'm gonna thank everybody for coming. I'm going to, just for the fact that we have some department heads that have been busy today with the conditions, I'm going to skip and get them through first. So if everybody will indulge me, so that they can get out of here and get back to work. Is that okay with everybody here? Sure. So the first thing we want to go to is the road agent.
Page 13.
Thank you.
Is in the upper right-hand corner.
Under highways and streets. It's opened up for conversation.
You want an overview? Got one if you'd like it. The total budget for highway, and this includes the bridge, pickup truck, street lights, road reconstruction, operational costs, and employee costs. $1,564,042. Breaks down as follows. Employee costs, $359,092. Operational costs, $293,550. Road reconstruction, $200,000. Bridge replacement, $650,000. Pickup truck, $50,000. Street lights, $11,400. The end.
Questions, comments?
It may be for public comment, I'm not sure, but has the bids come in for the bridge?
No, we have a meeting on Monday with right now we have 6 potential bidders. They're gonna meet on Monday. And, yeah, so, and we all know that was better on Monday, and then it's like, I think another couple weeks before we have it, so. Before town meeting, yeah, which is good, yeah.
Good, hearing no, board have anything? Hearing no further?
I have a couple questions for the road agent. Sure. It's okay if I call you Dick?
Sure.
Dick, the job on Washington Hill Road, when you're redoing that as far as gravel and everything, that hasn't been hot topped, right?
No.
Now, is that hot top budget included in
Part of
this
it
year?
is, part of
For
it
this
is.
year?
We're gonna do part of it this year, and then we're gonna finish. We did part of the lower end last year.
Yeah.
We box cut it, and we still have about 3,000 feet that needs to be ground. And we're gonna use our own gravel from, you know, the same deal from our own stockpile.
Okay.
There's about that, and I'm hoping to do, the plan this year is to do like 2,000 feet off of High Street, and then do the lower end, like 1,000 feet just coming off of 16. Just because there's a lot of travel there, that intersection's a busy place, and it's broke up pretty bad. That's the plan this year, if the money gets raised.
One other question, I also understand you do not have a generator up to the town garage. Seems like all the other areas in town have generators. Why is that?
We have a portable generator there, a gas generator, and we've gotten by with that over the years. As we know, we have the wood furnace, that's the main thing. We can open the doors. And I had mentioned it to Chief Littlefield, and he said that he could look into that and help me out with it, because I think everybody else in town has a generator, and as everybody knows, we're up probably more than anybody as far as that.
Good point.
When would they be writing a grant like that? I mean, when might this come about?
Why don't I look into it and work on that, yeah.
Well, I think it's something you should have.
Oh, I do. I mean, we've gotten by with the gas generator we have, but, you know, it opens the doors, keeps the furnace going and all that stuff, but, and the lights, but it would be a big improvement.
Do we know where the alarm system went in here?
Yes, it's under,
Because we found out it was more than what It's we under building maintenance first thought. or It said and it was for 5,000, right?
yeah,
That's
it's
what we
under
put
the
in,
building,
okay.
it's under building maintenance.
I just wanna make sure we did put in the
It's like
5.
that
We
fifth
did.
line from
Okay.
the bottom, Becky.
Yeah.
Nope, that's fine, as long as it's there and it's 5, because I know when he got the final work with the other parts
Yeah.
that had to go with it,
Yeah.
it was closer to $5,000.
Yeah.
I thought we put 5 in, okay.
Okay, anything further? Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks to everybody that's here.
Still gonna have a long night?
Hope not.
So-
Have supper after. Get it while you can.
Good.
Thank you.
everybody.
Fire department,
Yes, sir.
which I believe is on page 12. Open up for
It
starts on 11.
11.
Give it 2 for me.
You're on 2 pages. All right, open it up for comments.
Does anybody like a little overview?
Go for it, Willie.
Employee cost for fire and rescue is $166,102. Operational cost is $141,077. The ambulance contracts are $208,587. New equipment is $332,381. New building architect is $150,000. Total for that is $998,147. Several of those are grants, so that would change the numbers that need to be brought up by taxes. And I didn't mention that on the highway, but the highway, there is money coming out of the capital reserve, so that forward. But this is what the appropriation will be in the warrant. Revenue is a different picture.
Nothing further?
Richard, did all the auction items get cleaned out of the South Tamworth fire station?
There's still quite a bit of stuff in that back building, that back part.
Didn't the insurance company say that we shouldn't be storing things in the station like that?
They wanted it cleaned up. They wanted it neatened up.
And then the Chicago station, I think instead of waiting for an electrician, we might want to contact another one, see if we can get that service cleaned up. And
I gotta remove what's there per our discussion, because it can't go there.
yeah, you can't do the other, right? But we do have some other people around.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right, and CIP is 18,000 for all 4 stations this year, and that's high on the list.
Yeah. Good.
Hearing nothing further for the fire department?
Mr. Fiddler?
My question is more process than substance. I was trying to figure out why the budget is so much higher this year than it was last year. There's a lot of capital improvements, especially in the fire department, which were not included in the CIP budget. And I believe some of those were anticipated before this meeting, so I would ask that things that are anticipated be included in the CIP. I don't understand why we're spending, what was it, like $380,000 that wasn't in the CIP.
So CIP called for replacing the Tahoe this year. We decided against it, it's in good shape. We talked about the ambulance that was in the CIP for this year. Right now, everything's fine with it, and I think it's a wonderful idea. Mr. Farnham come up with 100,000 capital
Right, yeah,
reserve.
that's
so we
a
have any
big
issues.
saving.
And I believe the difference is $225 for a brush truck that would end up costing the town $20,000 is a grant. Another one is, I think we ended up $22,000 grant that would end up costing the town $2,000.
Right, I'm not criticizing any of the choices and the fact that you got grants to do a lot of it. I'm just saying there's things that should have been anticipated in this, because the CIP is trying to keep the CIP capital tax rate impact level, and it ain't going to be level this year. And some of those things are contributing to that. So,
And this is the first I heard of it, of the $150,000 for the municipal building committee being in fire department budget.
Well, it's in fire rescues, the building, and they're gonna split, I suppose, half with police,
But I
and
mean,
half
that-
with you, and I mean.
Yep, that's a big chunk of it.
yeah, no, it is.
David,
And
the other thing I was gonna say is 2 of those items, like the gear washer and the
Brush truck.
forestry truck, if they don't get those grants, that money's not gonna be spent. But I don't understand, I know where you're saying with the CIP, but they only looked at those because grants were available. So I have a hard time, because I served on the CIP, if you think you're gonna have it, how do we put it in the CIP if they're only applying for them because there are grants available? That's where I have trouble at the CIP, because somebody can put something in, and then they find there's a grant available to it. Is that what you're looking for? If they think like down the line, they might wanna get a second gear washer, and they know the cost is gonna be this to get it on the CIP?
Becky, my only comment is that we have a CIP process that everybody tries to work with, and when I see things on the budget that were not included, it makes me think that the process isn't working correctly.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I'm trying to figure that out too.
I'm not saying that I'm not suggesting I have a solution right now. I'm just
Okay.
saying that we need to work it because the tax rate impact this year is gonna be pretty significant. So I just was looking for where the exceptions are, and I saw those things that stuck out.
Okay, that's good, because we'll bring that up the next time we meet at CIP. We'll just say anything out there you might wanna get by a grant, we'll put the total cost in the CIP so it can be figured in the overall impact.
Just to clarify, because overall, because we're not doing the Tahoe and the ambulance, the fire department's impact on the CIP is actually lower than anticipated this year. It's not actually higher. If you take out those things, the grant things that will never come from taxation, it's actually lower because we eliminated the Tahoe and the ambulance. So, no, it looks bad because of those grants, but it's not. It's actually less than what was in the CIP. Fire.
Right, and again, I'm not criticizing the substance of anything
No,
or the choices, I'm just talking about the process.
Yeah, which I
So-
agree with Becky, it's kind of a curious thing because we've actually reduced the amount from the CIP for fire this year, not added to it.
Right, and several departments have, where Richard's using a lot less for, 50,000 less for road reconstruction than one's in the CIP. The CIP is not concrete, it's just a prediction.
Thank you.
Dan, can I make a comment before we
Yep.
go any further? And I don't know how we correct it. This meeting was posted at 6 o'clock. It was not posted at 5
What are you talking about?
on the website.
Our selectmen's meeting.
Our selectmen's meeting was posted at 6 o'clock.
What time was the public hearing posted for?
It wasn't. It wasn't.
It's just in the agenda.
So I don't know, I mean, we started at 5. It's not a legal meeting.
Point of information. It happens sometimes. Did you make any decisions between 5 and 6? Like votes and everything else?
Signing budget.
Well, we signed all the signature files.
You can ratify those votes.
Yeah, I mean, you can re-ratify the votes if you wanted to.
Yep.
The public hearing was posted for 6.
Right.
Right.
And the selectmen's meeting also says 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, it does. Absolutely.
What I usually tell towns to do is the chair should check about 48 hours before the meeting. The rule is 24 hours prior, so then you have time to correct it. That's it, it happens.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Richard.
I had one other question.
Oh, I'm
on
sorry.
CIP. I understand the process, David, and you made the comment yourself, but, I mean, this isn't something that is cut and edged in stone. I mean, if the town, just because they say we gotta get a lawnmower this year or a SUV for the fire department, and the one we got's only got 63,000 on it, I know it's gonna throw off your thoughts, but it's not like it's something that's written into law that it has to be done.
It's only a recommendation.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, what's the sense of replacing something, and how do people know when they're setting this up for 2020, 2025, how many miles something's gonna have on it, or how much use it's gonna get? I know it's a guideline, but you're more or less saying that it was set up that way and it should be spent that way.
No.
Okay, I think we beat this horse to death. And from now on, if you have questions on it, you have to address it to the board. You cannot address individuals. That's the way it has to be. I thought we finished the fire
Well, we
department.
have forestry and we have,
Oh,
he's got all kinds.
Those were all
Emergency
included in what
management.
yeah, I thought
Those
that
are
really
all-
covered
They were all
everything.
included in what
Yeah.
I said for the number. I mean, that's the whole
Yeah.
package of everything.
So we already did that.
Fire
Well,
rescue.
no, I meant if
yeah,
there were any questions
Forest
on
fires,
these.
et cetera.
Emergency management, forest fire. That's on page
Just, going to the, which is someone on here, recommendations that the advisory committee had. One of them was that the fire department, you have your own, website. If, I'm not sure when it gets renewed, maybe in the spring or something. If you could look into migrating it over to,
Yeah, we talked about that and 100% agreement.
yeah, alright.
We're using one IT company, slowly getting that all
We're
together.
already paying a lot for the town server, so
Right.
if everybody's under the umbrella, it's just cutting costs.
Yes,
Little
ma'am.
bit, that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Police department,
Okay.
page,
Next page,
next page.
10, 9.
Questions, comments?
You want a little overview?
I need an overview.
Okay, the police budget, and this includes all police items, petition articles, plus anything that's in the warrant rate. Employee costs, $442,739. Operational costs, $45,027. Flooring, $6,000. Police vehicle, $35,000. for a total of $528,766.
So, if I could just make on the 6,000 for the flooring, I don't know how that slipped through, in all our discussions prior. I didn't realize the CIP still had it in there. When I got some preliminary costs, it was, I think around a couple grand, $2,500, so it wasn't a CIP item. So I had asked to have it pulled out. I didn't realize it carried through and was still in there.
This,
What's that?
this came to us.
It wasn't a request from me. I had it built into the maintenance of the building. So that 6,000, like on the, if you look at the town warrant, it's 6,000 is separate of the budget.
Right,
So
yeah.
that, I assume it came from this CIP.
I think it was on this one.
Yeah, so it was a miss on my end. And it's one of those things, if we do it, we do it. If we don't, we don't. I'd rather not, you know. I know there was, and that was just high traffic carpet. That's what's in there now. It's lasted the years that it's lasted. I know Becky mentioned one of the meetings about vinyl being cleaner. Obviously it comes to more of a cost, which I don't have a cost on. So I'm fine to remove the 6 and not explore that option this year. It's a pretty big undertaking to do anyway, because of everything that has to be moved and whatnot. But it does need to be done, but it's sustainable.
So you wanna wait for this year?
The 6, yeah.
It's always good to take money out of the budget.
No, we can make amendments. Anything further for the police department? Hearing nothing further?
So that,
Oh,
Point of clarification, the police department, are you also talking about the animal control?
Yes.
Which is on a different page, just in case anyone had questions about it. It would be on page 15.
Willie, did you add that?
I
You
think
look like
the
you
animal
have
control actually is under the town government.
CIP.
I think I put that under the town government. There's a lot more arrows there. And it doesn't break down quite as easy.
did everybody see the animal control?
What page was that, Catherine?
15?
Any questions on animal control?
I understand that the selectmen voted not to accept the chief's request for 2 officers, but I guess a bunch of signatures got around, so he's gonna have that on the warrant for voting.
It is,
It is.
Article 7 in the white paper.
I guess I'd like to have you explain to me, Dana, where all the crime is in this town.
I don't know if that's really a discussion to have right now. I mean,
Why isn't it?
Well, you're just talking about the purpose of the budget.
Well, this is under the
We've
police
had this-
department for help, other
Yeah,
officers.
Just through the sheriff's office alone, there was over 5,200 calls for service.
Yeah, but what are they, all these calls? I mean, I'm not
They're
talking,
serving the community.
I'm
I
not
mean,
talking barking dogs and stuff like that. I'm talking actual crime in Tamworth. I don't see that. That's a question that can't be answered. This is a public hearing on your budget. You're requesting another officer for this small town. That's 4 full-time police officers. I can't see it.
All right, you know where we have the highest per capita for a department in the county, right?
Perhaps. But I'm
By a lot.
asking you for...
And we will still have the highest per capita if we can add a 4th position. So that tells you a little bit of something where everybody else is at.
No, I think that I'm addressing these people and not you, because I got in trouble a few minutes ago. But I think the townspeople need to know, the taxpayers need to know where all this crime is. Now, all I hear is Turkey Street, Maple Road, Candle Pine. And what I see is over on the old Route 25, we have an officer sitting there numerous hours. Over on Depot Road, we have an officer sitting there numerous times. If we got so much crime on Turkey Street, why isn't a police car present there?
We don't have enough people to spread everybody around. They're there too, Art.
Well, let me ask you this.
Can't be everywhere at once.
Let me ask you this. You said that there's police officer at the Brett School all the time.
All the time, not all the time.
How many hours a week do you have an officer there?
Dedicated?
Well, just police presence at the Brett School. How many hours a week?
Well, if you include just doing stationary radar, doing stationary in the school zone, so it's a half-hour block, at the end of the day there's an hour, and then an hour of instruction for the lead instructor. It's 2 hours a day.
It's
a shame you don't feel that that's necessary.
No, I think the presence there is, because the school board told us last week, when I asked the question about the police department, how many hours, they said probably 2 hours a day would be tops, which is fine. I think the presence needs to be there a little bit, but I think our kind of understanding was that we need to hire more people because we need people more at the school and all the crime.
It's called
And
early intervention.
I just don't see it.
It's called proactive policing and early intervention.
No.
That's how it works, Art.
I don't agree, but...
Oh, that's understandable. We can disagree.
I did request information from the sheriff's department, which I did get. Now, the number of calls, first of all, the number of calls from 2018 to 2019 in town is a difference of 616 in a year. So if you take that, divide it by 12, that's about 50 calls a month more this year than last year. I think with 3 policemen, you can absorb, that would average out to a call and a half a day.
I don't think your numbers, I think you got 10 months of data, first of all.
No, I got data from January 1 to November, no, we're talking about 2 different things. Number 1, I'm going by the stats that you gave us for 2018 and 2019. The difference, if you add them all up, which I did, if it's correct, if your numbers are correct, came to 616 more calls this year than last year. Which, if you averaged it out in the course of a year, is roughly 50 calls a month, average 30 days a month. I think you can absorb 1.5 calls a day more.
What you're looking at is stats based on, reported calls for service, whether crimes, whether community, assistance, let me speak. Okay, what's not in those numbers is the case follow-ups, the investigations, the report writing, all the other stuff that goes along with having a productive police department. That's all the stuff that you don't see in those numbers.
Well, I did get that
Having
information.
additional officers is about being proactive and, being available to the community.
Dana, if I respect the police department, the fire department, all the departments. However, I don't think the town can afford it at this time. When the public sees the final line of how much their taxes are gonna go up this year, I think they will question having another police officer.
The voters can decide.
Could I say something about the police department? So my biggest issue with it is, if somebody calls the police department tonight, the Tamworth Town Police aren't going to be who shows up at your house. It's either going to be the state police or the sheriff's department. So having another police officer isn't going to change that fact. And I know that's true because I've had the police at my house before. So
Yeah, we'll only need more officers if we're getting calls that we're not on cover.
we are, if you take that we have the biggest per capita crime in the town, talking to the board, we already have the state police department in this town, and I'm not exactly sure how many police officers they have, but I'm imagining at least 4 or 5. And then the sheriff's department also patrol the roads that we have here and take up a lot of crime. So I think that overall, between the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, state police, and the town of Tamworth, we have way more than enough officers to take care of the small town crime that's going on.
You know that Troop E covers 2 counties?
Troop E can cover 2 counties, but it's still police officers in this town taking care of the major crime that's obviously going on in this small town, and I don't believe that we need more police officers to patrol the roads and hand out speeding tickets.
Is there information on this?
If I call the police officers tonight, you're not going to show up at my house.
I'm here, my officer will though.
Danny, you don't need to interrogate him or...
I just, that's fine, you're entitled to the opinion, but it's misinformation of the, how state police and sheriff office works.
The fact that the Tamworth Police Department will show up at my house is not an opinion, that's a fact. I've had the police department call to my house before, and it's either the sheriff's department or the state police that come to your house. It is not the Tamworth. You've never been called to my house by anybody. You've been followed somebody at my house to my house. That's the only thing the Tamworth Police Department has ever done.
Thank you.
I have to go back because when you say everything is misinformation, it drives me crazy, and that's on record now. I have the printout from the sheriff's department. I have just the sheriff's response to this town. And I also have what you respond. I didn't print that out because it was 200 pages for 2019. And I would love to print it out, but I can't afford the ink. What you're saying, when they respond, they report everything. Now, your calls list everything, whether it's serving somebody, stopping a car, an accident, you total those all up. It could be just somebody calling your department for an address. It could be somebody saying, how are the roads in Tamworth? That's another call. You list everything as a call. There's a big difference between an accident, a murder, a homicide, I don't care, and stopping vehicles. Am I right?
I don't know what you're asking. Everybody reports data the same way.
Yes.
I don't know if you're pulling information from, but everybody reports data
I got it from Sheriff Ricciardi himself.
Okay, I don't know why you're yelling at me.
Because you yell at me. I didn't pull this out of the air. Sheriff Ricciardi sent it to me. I've spoken to him several times. Pardon me?
I don't know why you have this tone with me.
Because it's impossible to speak with you.
I guess the question I have is, if we get another patrolman, is that gonna extend the hours for the day or the night? Or is it just gonna be another police officer?
It increases our coverage.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you
It
said.
increases our coverage.
I'm pretty sure that warrant articles are not part of the budget hearing, is that?
No, they are.
They are, okay, all right.
Unexpected.
Okay, I just was clarifying.
Well, the other question too is the amount in the warrant article is almost 98,000, and he's told us in the past that it was 95,000. So, I mean, the amounts of money are constantly changing. I just can't keep up with it.
I would just like to say that as a town resident, I would like actual statistics or a projection of why we need another officer. Has crime exceeded like 20% from last year? Has there actual, for somebody that loves to have, say, where's your information coming from? Where's the information that says we need another police officer?
That's what I just want to know, if the Board of Selectmen has received from the police chief
information showing the need for one or two more officers, have the chief provided the selectmen with that information?
We have not.
And was it ever looked into by the chief to hire 2 part-times instead of 1 full-time, so that the retirement and the health insurance wouldn't be such an expense?
He's got a part-time budget.
But I'm just asking, like, for this new one, when he wanted 2 and now it's 1, but I mean, did he ever consider hiring 2 part-times and,
It's not sustainable.
excuse me?
It's not sustainable.
And how much did the part-timer this last year, 19, actually work?
Yeah, it was a fraction of what we intended because of many reasons I'm not gonna get into, but that's why a part-timer is not sustainable.
But if that part-timer had worked, would it have been eased up on the regular employees so that you didn't need another one?
So could I ask then, if the part-timer this year didn't work, chief, could you make that part-time position a full-time position? And then maybe not do any other full-timers, make your part-time a full-time?
You mean do away with the part-time?
Do away with the part-time and make that one more full-time position?
Yeah, I
Instead
mean,
of-
I would still maintain a minimal portion of that line in order to have to fulfill it if you had somebody to be able to call in or whatever.
I would just like to ask the board, what are the hours of our police department?
We have
Monday
a
to-
salary, we have a
No,
salaried position.
No, I'm talking about the actual coverage, Willie, that we
No,
have.
I'm gonna explain that.
Okay.
We have a salaried position, and then there are 2 full-time, which are 80 hours a week.
40 hours.
I mean, 40 hours a week. That's what, so it's 80 hours per week with 2 officers. They may work overtime or be on vacation or whatever, but it's budgeted at 40 hours, and there is a line for overtime as well.
No, but that's not really what I'm trying to find out. I'm
Well, so that they're scheduled to work, I believe, 40 hours a week, 2 people, 40 hours a week, and then the salaried officer is whenever it's needed because his salary is the chief.
But I think what he's asking is, when are we having coverage?
What is the
Are
coverage?
we having 3 shifts covered, are we having 2 shifts covered? We have not been provided that information.
Yeah, and
Well,
we wouldn't tell
my
you.
question is, if I call at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, who's gonna show up at my house?
The sheriff.
Me, they don't call the sheriff's department out. I am mandated by the sheriff himself to be on call, okay? They will not call a sheriff's deputy out. They will call me first.
Is that a
I was
change?
out at 4 o'clock this morning.
Is that a change, Dana? Because if I call and say if there's a Tamworth cop on, they say no, then they say, what do you need? And I tell them what I need, and then they send somebody to respond. So I guess, is that a change in the last year or so?
You're talking about if, on call hours, overnight hours.
So what you're telling me is they expect you to be on call 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I find that very hard to
80 hours
believe
a
that
week.
that's coming from the sheriff.
80 hours a week.
So when you're not on call, who's taking the call?
I'm on call.
When you're not on call, who's on call?
It depends on who's available.
Sheriff's
For our,
Department.
for our department.
Sheriff's Department will take the call,
I
correct?
still have to designate somebody from the department.
Will the Sheriff's Department respond if Tamworth is not available?
If they cannot get a hold of a Tamworth officer, they will respond.
Thank you.
And I also assume that Troop E would respond.
Correct.
Whoever's close.
Because, I mean, I think what we gotta think about here a little bit is, and I'm sorry, Dana, I'm just not, you can't convince me that all this crime is here. You're not gonna convince me unless I see some papers. But we pay for the Carroll County Sheriff's Department in this town, we pay for the New Hampshire State Police in this town, and now we pay for the Tamworth Police Department. That's 3 times we're paying for some type of protection or response for whatever our problem is. And I might be mistaken, but I think unless these people in the town of Tamworth are on call, that on Sundays we don't have any coverage whatsoever. So I believe that we are relying on New Hampshire State Police or the Sheriff's Department. But we are actually paying 3 times. And it's been told to us that our chief won't work with anybody on the outside because this is his town. And he will run his town how he wants it run. And I think that is so far wrong when we got these other agencies in this area to help us. So
Well,
the people can decide what they want to do.
I just want to make one more comment from the Sheriff's Department. Responded, I just did 3 months so far. In January, they responded 10 times. They responded at least once every day, except Saturday. In February, they responded 46 times. And it was every day.
Are they serving
Wednesdays
civil
was only
paperwork?
once.
Is it civil paperwork service?
It was,
We don't
It's-
do civil paperwork
it's just,
service.
that's the same thing with your list. You list everything for calls, and they do the same thing. Whether it was for a warrant issue, it could have been an accident here, it could have been a fire,
Madam,
which,
we do not serve civil court orders.
fine.
The
You
sheriff's
respond
department
to
does.
fires.
What?
You respond to fires when the fire department goes out.
Yeah.
Well, so does the sheriff's department. And they've responded, this is their calls just to Tamworth. Just their response to Tamworth.
If this other officer, would it be considered a school resource officer?
Nope.
Not at all?
That was
That's-
misleading information that came out because I provided job descriptions that were asked for at the same time budgets were asked for.
Okay. And I was gonna say, maybe, I think some of these issues was lack of communication, not just from the selectmen, but from you, Dana, saying, I read your online petition, about officer burnout and things like that, that if you were worried about that, bring it up with the selectmen. We never heard about officer burnout. We never heard about, being understaffed and things like that. It was, I looked at the meeting minutes when you presented, and none of these things came up. So,
I think the question is, how much? We need to vote whether we want to increase.
Correct.
I think we've answered all the questions, and I
I
think,
think we have. I think it's gonna, the voters need to show up and voice
Thank
their
you.
opinion. Anything further? Thank you. Alrighty, I think I hit everybody that was out working all day. Alright, now we'll go back to the front. How's
I
that?
was gonna say, we do have some people, you
Yes.
guys might want to. Like the library, conservation.
Okay, let's go, I'm sorry, yeah, we can, library. Let's go to the library. Anybody know what page?
Should be an index on the front page.
Yeah, you need an index on the front page. I agree with that, I think that would be great,
What's that?
an index on the front page.
Should have started from the back.
Yeah, it's not the end.
giving these out as Christmas presents.
22.
Page 20 has some library on it.
That's it.
Again, I'll give a brief overview if that's all right. We're going to try to find a page with the nuts and bolts for the system. But the article is for $189,100. And out of that, there would be a revenue coming in of $18,831. So the net appropriation for the town would be $170,200. $269.
Any further questions, answers on the library? I got page 20.
20, halfway, middle page.
And I did not break out your employee costs and your operational costs. I did not do that on yours because I bunched you in with all these people.
Hearing nothing further on the library, I would
You
like
have
to
anything
thank you
to
very
add?
much.
Anything, Mary? You have something to say?
If anyone would like to see the library budget, it's gonna be printed in the town report along with the annual report and the financial statements from 2019. I have copies here. I will leave them somewhere and you may take one. It's ones you've seen already. But for those that haven't, they are right here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lots of programs.
Yes.
You stay
Now
and listen to the
go
other
to
stuff if you want.
Planning board. What page we on?
6.
So you guys were ready.
We were planning.
Questions on the planning board? Willie?
I don't have much to say here. I think the total amount for the planning board is listed in the warrant as, it's the right page. Planning is $8,015.
Which is down 120 from last.
Son and her daughter.
I'm sorry, Will.
$8,015, and they just said it's down
$120.
$120 from last year.
Yay.
Yeah, and we have about 13% of last year's budget. So it's pretty tight.
You didn't encumber any funds,
No.
so.
You don't have any money,
You
you're
don't have
starting
any
back
money.
at zero come March.
But what he's saying is he donated that to the general fund.
Yes, thank you. You
Thank
put
you.
back in, you did not
And I'm also
spend.
saying that it's a pretty tight budget.
Yes.
It is.
You're very good.
Now we know. Hearing nothing further for the planning board. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. Parker, what was you? Sure you've been straight up. Does anybody know what rec department page?
17 and 16.
What is it?
16 and 17.
Page 16 and 17. Bottom of 16, top of 17. Questions? Comments?
The rec budget is on, what I have is I had recreation, I didn't break out that particular. If you look in your warrant, you'll see that the recreation is, excuse me for a moment here. Get the right page. Recreation, which covers Parks and Rec, which is $103,018. A riding mower for $4,000. So the total Park and Rec is $107,018. Also, I put the swim program, because it's all under one article, included the swim program there, which is $7,284, and then patriotic purposes of $7,700. So the total for the recreation is $122,002.
Can I just ask, and maybe Robin knows this, is this where the dues go to the town of Sandwich for, what's the lake's name? Bear Camp Pond.
Yes,
yeah.
I think it is.
It's in the dues and subscription line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Should be 500.
That's where it was before. Are we gonna continue to pay that even though we're supposed to be able to use it for free?
Well, there was talk of you using it to 250 or over a month.
Oh, they did?
No, well, at one of the budget meetings that was discussed.
I think we really need to sit down and maybe invite them over and have a powwow between the two select boards to see what can be worked out. I really think, because we go back and forth, and we found a deed, and they said they amended their deed, and it pays for the bathroom, it pays for gravel, so maybe we all need to get in the same room and say, how are we gonna handle this? Because it was 20 years ago, or 100 years ago, that they signed it. 50 years ago, I don't remember the date of it.
It was in the late 50s?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been quite a while.
I know that there's been memorandums of understanding between departments, but having one between towns would probably.
That's what I think
Good
we
idea.
probably should revamp and get on writing, so nobody's ever questioning it again. We can do a 5-year memorandum of understanding, and then in 5 years, who knows, the
board
lake
can
may be
discuss it.
dried up by then.
Further questions or comments for the rec department?
Yeah, I'd just like to see what's in the rec department budget for us old folks in town as far as maybe sea dogs or flower shows, wherever those programs gone. I don't see too many of them, and why we couldn't start doing some things at the town hall.
House.
What's that?
House.
Townhouse. As far as maybe some, like, ping pong or things like that.
Scrabble tournaments.
Bingo!
I had a tour of the
Scrabble
town hall a
tournaments.
couple weeks ago, and that place is beautiful. It's been cleaned from bottom to top. I just feel that we want a rec department in this town, and we should have one, but not necessarily for the children. It should offer some things for
Adults.
the old people, like myself. So, with that, maybe Parker could make a comment.
You've got some suggestions for programs you'd like to see offered? You said, mentioned, I heard Scrabble, I
Yeah.
heard ping pong.
Not like games, all kind of games. You could have a day, a board game. All kind of board games over there. You got plenty of room.
Perhaps Beano, maybe, one afternoon, or maybe an evening a week or something, I don't know, just.
Something for us to look for.
I think it needs,
It's different.
I just need to think that it needs to offer a few more things. What's so funny?
All I could think of when you said Beano, Artie, was, what's that after the bean lunch or what? Beano.
I'll sit down with you, if you have some suggestions.
Beg pardon?
I'll sit down with you if you have some suggestions or
Well,
anything
we
you'd like to
just,
try.
I mean,
We just gave you some.
Yeah.
Right, but there was money in for trips for adults that was taken out in 2019, so they did have.
We used to do them, but the attendance for those, we used to bang the buses out and the attendance dropped way off. And we pulled those out a year or two ago. What we do now is if you want to go to the flower show, we work with Bartlett Rec Department and you can go with them and get picked up in, usually it's at the church in Madison on Bartlett's way down through.
But Parker, is there a way we can actually work with the rec department? Because I asked you this question, I asked you by email, because Bartlett advertises in the paper, so anybody can go with Bartlett and meet at the different pickups. Is there any way, because no offense, that's quite the steep cost compared to what you used to charge
Yes.
for the rec. Is there some way, again, we can work with Bartlett that maybe they would let our people in at their cost versus what they charge out?
I can try.
I mean,
It's not a big difference, but I could certainly.
I know, it's like $5, but
Yeah.
$5 can make a difference, because I know they advertise in the paper to make sure they get enough people to fill their bus, and if they
Yeah.
don't meet a minimum amount, they actually cancel it out.
Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, like you said, with the flower show or whatever, maybe that has died off a little bit. I think we should be thinking of new programs to offer people in town.
You keep bringing up the Sea Dogs, so I take it you wanna go to a ball game.
Well, when I go down to Ossipee and go through the rec department, because they offer that. So I go there, but, no, I hate to see the rec department not have something for everyone, and it surely keeps our children busy, so they're not getting involved in all this crime. So, I just
I'd
think we
like-
need some new programs, that's all I think we need to do. Get some heads together or something.
I'd like to see the town house used more for recreation, for the townspeople. You know, and the kids, the adults. I mean, it's a free place, and you wouldn't have to.
I have a great idea. It's gonna bring in some money into the town. The first time ever, last week, I played Keno, and I won $2. I think the town should
that a
implement
contribution?
Keno, and we can make money. I made $2, cost me $10, I made
We
one
gotta
too.
have an establishment that has alcohol before you have
Yeah,
Keno.
I know.
Which we do have, Chinese restaurant.
Voted then.
A question regarding like teenagers. I guess I'm wondering, like, for instance, is like on, other towns will have like on Thursday from 6 to 9 in the townhouse or whatever, stuff happening. You have pizza and Coke and music and let's talk about stuff or whatever. And I've often wondered why Tamworth doesn't have something like that. That's just a thought.
Again,
We have a
There
perfect
used to be a
place there.
teen center.
Yes, we
There
do.
was a teen center there.
But it would be good if, my feeling is that the rec department is terrific, except that I think that it's not covering all of the ages that we have. There are older things, there used to be bridge, whatever.
Bridge.
There was line dancing, ballroom dancing, there was a lot.
But not when you think of, I don't know how many teenagers are here, but probably the number that are going to Kennet, and it strikes me that it might be good for crime and lack of it and whatever, if in fact there was something that they enjoyed doing, that maybe they could have projects that they did to help the town, or just have fun, or whatever. That's all.
Pat, do you know, George Cleveland came with that gentleman to make a presentation not too long ago because everybody's going age-friendly in Carroll County.
Yeah.
And he said the gentleman that was with him, I don't think he ever contacted Parker.
who was it?
I can't remember his name, I haven't been able to go back through the tape. Remember George came with that
I do.
gentleman and he said he was talking to all rec departments regarding age-friendly, and he actually mentions things like sitting benches in parks and stuff, because I can't stand for 2 hours anymore either, so you have to have a place to sit. But the other thing is, if you could remind George that that gentleman said he was going to contact Parker, because I don't think he ever contacted him.
And I've seen George and he never mentioned it.
Right, he was here one night for a presentation.
I remember that.
I'd just like to say, it sounds like Parker is asking for ideas, and when you're a one-person sort of department, maybe Parker, if you set a night, people would show up. It's hard to sit by yourself and talk to yourself and try to come up with new ideas. So maybe, I mean, it is, quite honestly, So if people have ideas, maybe schedule a night or 2 nights of having like an open forum where people in town could come and bring their ideas to Parker and give him some, concrete things, explore this, or we'd like to see this. Because it's always nice to have more than one person trying to come up with new ideas.
It's hard because usually department heads leave as soon as they're talking, and it was in the, I don't know, probably in the summertime. But Dana was, the police chief was saying how the crime in town was a bunch of the juveniles and stuff like that. And Parker wasn't here then for that meeting, but I just think that the fire department talks about that it's hard to recruit new kids, new people to volunteer or whatever, but I would like to see like the recreation department and the police and the fire department, because I know the police isn't huge but at the moment, but if, they take once a month and do something in the gym or do it out in the field or something, and say it's softball or pick up basketball or something, but have like the teenage kids play against the fire and the police department or something like that, and then then the kids might not want to be in trouble so much when they're kind of playing ball with them or something like that, but it's something that you could get all of those departments together. Maybe the selectmen could jump in and play too, but I mean if you got the kids in there, but I'm just thinking that, I mean, you know, then maybe some of the kids as they get 17 or 18 thinking, well, maybe I'd like to join the fire department, or maybe, you know, they want to go and become a police officer, but I mean, they're going into the school with the younger kids. What is the police doing with the older kids that are in high school or whatever?
Good point.
But, just an idea.
Good idea. All right, any other further? Oh,
Just one more. Other thought that I had was that if our count of programs is dwindling, perhaps it's time to think about the rec department, just to think about combining with perhaps Madison or Freedom, some of our neighboring towns where these children all end up going to the same SEU anyways. And if they don't have enough people, maybe we could concentrate on one rec department for all of these areas. Just something to think about, perhaps.
We do work with them. In fall of 18, we combined with Freedom for Soccer. Some girls came over from Madison last year and played on our basketball team. So we have, and they've done it with Cal Ripken as well. If Freedom is short, they'll come to Madison and Tamworth. So it hasn't never been anything official, but we have worked together.
But do you think that might be an area to explore, because you know Madison got rid of their rec department, and they have no summer thing for their kids other than if a teacher, you know, takes on a thing. Do you think that's something, I mean, I hate to say it, but Freedom doesn't have a rec director anymore, do they?
They never did.
They never did,
Yeah.
so maybe we.
Because they've got maybe 60 kids in their whole school.
Right, but that is something else. I mean, there's more power the more money you get from 3 towns versus 1. It might be time to look at a regional park and rec of the SAU, just like the school is.
food for thought.
Food for thought.
Anything further for the rec department?
Last question. Does the insurance policy cover anything that the rec department runs? For instance, in the townhouse, if the young man over there was talking about the old guys, I don't mind. But you know, if I go in and trip or fall or something, I'm sure I'm not gonna bust my head open, and that's not a.
Your hips covered.
Sure, the town would.
Your hips covered.
Yeah, okay, and for instance, that, if it was pick up basketball or soccer on the, if it's, but only if it's rec department.
If you go down there and trip during elections, you're covered. If you go down there and trip because you're going into the bathroom, you're covered, because the building's covered in regards to liability, that kind of liability.
And what if it was on Scott's mother's lawn or on the history center, and, you know, the rec department?
I don't know what the history center has, because it's not
That
a
would be
town,
their-
it's
their
not a town
problem,
building,
not
but the rec,
yours.
you know, Remick Field, when we have Scott, we'd have to get a special rider for, just like we do for, you know, the street fair and stuff like that, you have to proclaim where it is. If that's where you have to go, then we'd have to contact the insurance company and say, can we have a rider for
That's
this
what we
event?
do.
Yeah,
That's what we did for the 250th for the
It's
chicken
a-
barbecue in Charles
And
Field.
we did it
had
for
to do
the
that.
ultimate frisbee because
Right.
it wasn't on town property.
correct,
And we were,
But
that was easy because we used their property for the 4th as well.
right.
the townhouse you cleared.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine if there was something in here, that's good to know.
Alrighty, anything further? Thank you, Clark.
Okay.
Alrighty, did I miss anybody that's?
Conservation, conservation's been sitting
Oh, I'm
there.
sorry, conservation.
Page
It's all right, we're a small budget.
You happen to know what page you're on?
The last one, I think.
18, not 22.
And their total request appropriation was $6,881.
But the planning board is down a little bit from last year.
Thank you.
And it looks like we did not use about $1,300 that would go back to this year. When it came to defend our original budget, you made us add $50 to it. So
That'll teach you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So that's all we got.
Anything for, yes?
Just one thing, the Conservation Commission is also one that has its own website on a different server that's not the town server, so I'm not sure when your contract is going to come up with that.
I can't remember whether it's this year or next year, but yes, we have already discussed
Yeah.
merging with the town.
All right, thank you. That's all.
I just have a question. I think I've asked this before, but I don't know if I ever got an answer, but I'll run it by you again. If I had a piece of land that I wanted to donate to conservation, signing deeds over and things like that, the paperwork, is that done by the person that's turning it over, or does the conservation handle some of that?
It varies. If you're frequently, people who are giving a conservation easement will have their attorney draw up the documents. And sometimes we will give them the template. We have a template for all of ours. It actually comes from the Forest Society. But we also will help a landowner. Now, that being said, the town attorney has to vet everything as far as the town is concerned.
Okay.
Good?
Yes, fine.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
So I guess with economic development. What page, Pat?
I couldn't find it.
I couldn't find it.
All right, tell you.
That's a reduction, isn't it?
There is.
Actually, it doesn't say economic development,
Page
that's
8.
why,
Page 8.
in the warrant.
Yeah, we didn't do
It's
this last
under
year.
advertising and regional association,
Economic development at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's economic development.
Well, in the warrant.
Oh.
It's saying economic development, it says advertising and regional association.
Oh. Well, you got the summary?
The summary is $3,950.
Questions, comments? Comments?
Once again, the Economic Council is the third one that I found that has a website on a different server. And we are already paying a lot of money for the town server. Why not consolidate? I don't know how much it is, but every little bit helps to just put everything onto the town server.
It was a huge discussion that we had. I think that you were involved in it.
I know.
And theirs is too,
225, something like that.
yeah, no, there's
Too much
there's
detail.
too much detail.
No, it was the picture.
Well, there's too much detail to switch it over to the town. They said it just wasn't feasible.
But they didn't have to have all that detail.
Well, we have a search, in our business brochure, there's a search engine that allows you to actually find someone based on the service they provide, based on their name. And when they looked into taking over our website, I believe the problem was that detail was too much for the new website. And
We basically had to buy a program to make
Yeah.
it match.
Right.
It wasn't feasible. It
It
was
wasn't
cheaper
gonna be
for
able to
them
be
to
the
keep
same.
running it. Yeah.
I just wanted to cover all of the website so that everyone can kind of.
Wasn't that listed as economic development before? On the warrant?
What?
I mean, I think it would be good if it did.
What page are you on?
It's on page 3. The line item is down near the bottom above the Moose Plate grant. I think it should at least somehow have EDC in there somewhere.
Right, because we actually, no offense, Pat remembers, we actually took the regional association fees out of economic development and put them back in the Selectmen's because everybody in the town uses it, so.
And the advertising for the.
Would there be a problem with putting that as economic development? Because I thought it was before, and then they had the sub thing, the 250, which we now moved into the line itself.
But, right. Earlier on, it used to be that all those fees were.
Right.
Right.
We talked about it.
And then we pulled them out.
Yeah.
So that would be good if that could go back and be clearer to the going general public. Yeah, it was that way last year.
Yeah, so
It had
it doesn't-
economic development, advertising and regional association. And it was 3,900.
So if we can just add that so it's clear,
Where are you seeing? Oh, right here, okay.
just add the economic development.
Yes. I see what you're saying.
Make that amendment to it.
And then get going on that one.
Anything further for economic development? Hearing nothing further? I think I've got everybody that's here, right, that was Okay.
Sewer before everybody leaves.
All right then, let's start it.
Can we do the sewer before everybody?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because there's, you know, flows both ways.
What page you on?
Well, I don't know what page it is on the green sheets, I'm sure it's back here in the very end here where it says somewhere here about money coming in because it doesn't cost the town anything, but
Anybody
there's
see
two.
the sewer?
It's on 19.
19. All right.
So the overview on this is Article 25 is to raise and appropriate the sum of $21,198 for the Tamworth sewer system, of which $16,198 will be used to operate the system, $5,000 will be used to put into a capital reserve, and that's for this year, and there's a second piece to that, which is to establish and put into the capital reserve from last year, which never got established, $3,232. So the total, I don't have it broken out for the septic.
24 something.
Yeah, anyway, so it's 21 and 323, so those are the, all right, items there.
And that's all coming from the users.
And that all comes out of the users, the town doesn't pay any of that, it all falls to the fees for the user. Becky could have explained that.
But when anybody looks at our totals from last year, we started with this, we were supposed to accept it July 1st. I think we finally got it around October something or other. There, just so people don't get shocked if they hear, see, whatever, we spent $10,493 in legal fees. And that was reimbursing the town for the legal fees that were spent to get the sewer sold to the town. So our budget, we're hoping we don't have to do that again. But that also came from money that the TVA handed over $30,000. So there is still a fund balance right around 18, and we're leaving that for this year. Next year, if we see, we can drop that even lower, but we had to replace a pump in November to the tune of $3,000 real quick. And the budget was only for $1,700 for that line, so we budgeted more appropriately. And the reason the capital reserve has to be set up is if the system fails, there's no block grants now that it's owned by the town. So there has to be repairs made only from, and I don't think any user could face $200,000, 26 users to come up with the money to refix the system again. So hopefully we won't ever have to do that. But our meetings are open. They're on the meeting minutes are on the webpage. The budget will be on the webpage. We're working on users' fees now. Thank you.
Any further yes?
Do you want to switch the order of Articles 26 and 25 so you can create those capital reserves before you contribute to it?
I already have it marked.
That would be good.
Thank you.
All right, hearing nothing further, then let's start at the very beginning then. Board of Selectmen, Will.
Selectmen's office.
Give all mine away for Christmas.
Oh, I thought you were coming up to pay this bill.
No, I gave them all.
Page one,
This gets,
he's on page one now.
if we're going by just each little thing, it's gonna take us the rest of the evening. And that may be a little tiring, to say the least. I did do one of these, which sort of explains a lot of things. I've done one about a bunch of different things. So if I might, I'd like to go off our warrant on the first article, that is the big one for town government. It would be Article number 8. But town government has more pieces in it. We've already discussed the planning board, the conservation commission. We haven't discussed yet elections, treasurer, cemetery, debt service, townhouse, town office building, emergency operation grant, contingency fund, library. We did discuss the library. We did discuss recreation. We have yet to discuss health and welfare. I blocked those all under town government because they're what operates the town. The selectman's office, which includes the back office, the town administration, and many other small items is $395,200. The town clerk tax collector is $150,511. Legal and insurance is $55,577. Elections, $10,847. The treasurer is $7,149. Cemeteries is $39,900. Our debt service is $60,438. The townhouse and office building maintenance and repairs is $53,540. Emergency operation grant is $8,000. A contingency fund is $150,000. And health and welfare is $23,243. You add back in the planning board, conservation, zoning, EDC's added back in, the library and recreation are added back in, and the total is $1,248,406.
What's that final one again, Lillian?
The total?
Yeah.
The big total, $1,248,406. I do have another breakdown that shows employee costs for the whole town. I didn't break these all down like I did for the fire and police because those are easier to break down. There's less pieces. With this one, you have, $53 for zoning, which is in case they have to have a clerk, and you got FICA and everything else, so it's very minimal. Planning board, it would be included in the in this budget of labor, but it's a very small piece of labor. So I can explain that out when I find the right piece of paper to do that. Which I didn't, as I say, I didn't break them out. This is the whole town, total labor expenses, employee costs. This means health insurance, FICA, Medicare, anything that's deemed a employee benefit. $1,558,342. So some of that is for the town office here, for Kim, for everybody. Everybody in the town, highway, fire, everybody that's employed by the town except for Steve.
Could you read that again?
$1,558,342.
Would that include employees who don't work specifically, for instance, the library?
Yep, the library is included in that.
Anybody that has.
Anybody that gets a paycheck out of this.
Right.
The stipends for the fire department and all that.
Stipends for the fire department, and all of that. So, I just found it interesting. So, total operational cost for the town, on the bigger picture, is $3,082,499. $3,082,499. And then, of course, you have to add the petition warrant articles to it to get the grand total, which is $150,944 for petition warrant articles. Those are the ones that generally at the end and a lot of times clump together.
Are you counting, in that Article 107, Article 7?
Yeah, everything.
You're counting that in?
Yeah.
Yes,
Are you putting that?
yes, yep, that got included, and it got broken out between what was employee costs and what is equipment and work. So the total budget that I came up with out of this was $4,791,785.
much was that again, Willie? 4 million what?
4,791,785.
Okay.
And our, sort of our known income, I got a sheet here somewhere with income. Where'd it go? There. Oh, here it is, right there. And total known income, that includes the yellow sheet, which is an estimate, and monies coming from fund balance, capital reserve, library revenue, sewer users. Altogether is $2,116,610. So when you do this math, it comes out to be raised by taxes will be $2,675,175. And with our evaluation, if we knew our evaluation today, we could tell you what that would cost.
Just over 400 million.
We're under, just over 400?
Yep.
Can you repeat that, to be raised for taxes, please?
$2,675,175.
Thank you.
I jotted down a couple figures too. For the people that were at the school meeting a week ago tonight, their budget is $7,197,100. And what I get,
Can you repeat that already before you step on?
it was $7,197,100.
Okay.
And what I got figured here for the rest of Tamworth is $4,791,785, making a grand total $11,988,885
Your math's pretty good.
for our small community.
What was it last year? Do you have that figure?
I
10 something.
do not.
Well, if we were $10 million is what
10
you just
million,
read off.
10
And the
something.
Yeah, that's right.
thing is what we've expended, because we pay the school, so our money goes out of here from, to the school,
So
so.
we're $1 million up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
Huh?
$1.9 million. That's
Yeah.
gonna affect your taxes a lot.
Every-
By how much?
Every 100,000 goes up 25 cents.
And 650,000 of it is bridge repair.
Becky's looking.
Right, I agree with you 100%,
But isn't some of that 650 already in?
because this is the final total.
Right, they're not, but they're talking gross budget here, nobody's talking revenues. Yeah.
So this,
Right, another total.
this total here is what we spent totally as of today for the end of last year's 219 bills.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, it's gross budget, I agree with
Yes.
you. So that was
That-
10,218,121.
So that,
122.
that includes school and county.
That's what this one does,
Yeah.
when they added it together. It's
No,
gross budget.
Not county.
no, we
Not
don't have
county.
county and state in that.
We don't have
We
county and state in these.
So-
This is just us and school.
Can you say that number again?
10,000,218,122.
Too much.
122. I'm calling it 2 because it's 90, so I'm rounding up.
Thank you.
So, actually, when the Finance Budget Committee started in July, and what we are resulting with now, after we talk about trying to get these taxes down, because our taxes have gone up so high, we really haven't accomplished too much. Have we?
Well, we had knocked some down, but you've got your warrant articles to add into it. I mean,
No, but I'm saying,
but our departments have cut some down, like the fire department said, we'll forgo the ambulance, we'll put in
oh,
100.
no, no.
The
You know.
highway department did.
I
There's been
mean,
some big issues. I mean,
Right.
number one, that there's 27 pay periods, that's an ouch.
Yep.
Number two, we got the bridge, that's an ouch. Number three, we've got the new ambulance service contract, that's a big ouch.
Yep,
So, I mean, there's a lot of ouches in there for
Yes.
this year.
right. But
those ouches aren't gonna go away.
Yeah, well.
That's the real point, is those ouches aren't gonna go away. Our ambulance contract is gonna be 200 and something next year too, I mean, well, it's in here.
But I
But
think,
that's an increase of $1,770,764.
And what I don't think people realize is people complain about their tax rate, but in the last 2 years, we've taken $1 million to offset tax rate. We can't keep doing $1 million every 2 years. I mean, you know, we did 700,000 one year, we did 300 this year. Every year, it's 300,000 to 400,000 you're using to offset the tax rate, and we're not gonna be able to continue.
I understand that, but I thought that when we kind of started this process this year, that we were gonna try to have a goal to reduce taxes where just about everybody in town, their taxes have gone up. And it's like we've all said here and said before, there's gonna come a point where people aren't gonna be able to afford their taxes, and they keep going up. I realize times have changed, it's 2020, so things have changed, but, I mean, we've tried to justify every damn thing going, but I guess it hasn't helped too awful much.
Well, we're nickel and diming our budget,
Oh,
because that's all
certainly.
we can cut.
Oh, I know.
And you know, there comes a point where you can't nickel and dime anymore. I mean, every year we've cut even this budget. It may not look like a lot, but when you're facing everything else you're facing, and then you add the warrant articles on top of it, it's a lot of cash that people are gonna have to decide when, you know,
When enough is enough.
like somebody said, a petition warrant article is a donation to that group.
Right.
It's not mandatory, but it's a donation. They're asking for money because they're having trouble. Everybody's having trouble coming up with funds.
Right.
And sometimes it's gonna have to break because nobody's gonna have any funds to give anybody.
Kelly?
I'm just wondering if the budget committee has done any look into the state legislation and the funding that they're supposed to be providing that would actually bring our budget down. Like, are you looking at just
That's the school budget. I mean, the school is the biggest issue.
But there's state funding for schools. I'm just wondering, is the budget committee looking, and maybe I have to be addressing you, but just wondering if the budget committee is looking just at our town demographics or if they're looking at the state mandate.
Well, we're an advisory budget committee, so we report to the selectmen and we say, okay, it seemed like last year they overestimated how much department had for dues and subscriptions by like $300. And saying like, hey, maybe they could drop that down to be more
You're looking at the
conservative.
individual departments
Yes,
from our town.
yes, and then reporting it with the selectmen, and this year we've been meeting with the selectmen and the department heads at the same time to go over their individual budgets.
Right.
So we're doing it from like, trying to work and figure out what they need that way, and saying sort of, some departments, it's like the fire department, looking for grants for things that they want, but not really a legislative.
Right, and so I guess
part.
then my question would go to the select board to see if it's on your level to look into what the state legislation.
At the state level for a municipal government, there's not a lot of money. At the state level for school government, that's where they have more say in what is spent. But yes, I mean, it's like, we're trying to get laws changed concerning broadband, so it doesn't cost taxpayers $1 million to run fiber optic broadband through Carroll County. But there's 9 laws that have to be changed before we can even get there. Thank God we've got support. The same thing, I don't know that the state actually supplies what they're supposed to supply to the school, and that's one of the reasons I think going to an elected budget committee would look at all budgets, not just a town, then you have this budget here. They would have to report to that budget committee and defend every budget, and that would be a good question to say, are you looking at everything you're supposed to be getting from the state?
Yeah, because from what I'm seeing is it's like a lot of, like, let's look at this line down, but there's actually a whole tier above that that helps with that line item there and brings that budget down to bring it to a town level. And would help with that, I think would help with that greater.
Because if you look at your tax bill, go back 10 years, 5 years, I think it's 5 years, we didn't have a state tax on there. on your tax bill. That state tax was put in to help offset school tax, so now we're not only paying increased school taxes, but the state tax went up to fund all the mandates that they put in down at Concord because they need more money to mandate them. I agree with you. I think our legislative body should really start looking on how they're gonna offset property tax, because property tax cannot fund everything anymore. It can. And I give credit to people like Artie, who is working with public service to try and get our lights straightened out in this town that might save us a little money. And, you know, Willie brought in solar. If we can find ways, anybody that's got any way they think we can bring in something for Revenue. We're not Conway, we don't have a lot of businesses, we have, you know, we got independents that are paying as much taxes to run their businesses as we are, that we really need if we can find some more revenue sources.
I mean, just to think of some state revenues that we do get in, state aid for the landfill closure was 11,871. Aid to cities and towns, we got 52,000. Room and meals tax, we got 148,000. Highway block grant, we got 131,000. So there are other places where we do get money and aid from the state, but we also pay that in. You know, all the people that come and eat at the stores or whatever are paying, you know, there's gas taxes, all kinds of things that go to the state, and then they go, here, we'll throw out some feed to you. Our big problem is aid to education. That is the #1 problem in the state, and it's not equitable, and they, frankly, I don't feel they follow the Constitution, and they should be held accountable for it.
And not only that, just to follow up, you can correct me, Artie, if you want, but if we issue a traffic ticket, a speeding ticket in the town does not collect that revenue. It goes to the judicial system. So, but the judicial system doesn't pay for any of our cops to be patrolling the roads to, you know, get speeding tickets and stuff. So it is a round robin effect that comes down to the individual payer, and we do need some change.
And there are big issues still coming up. I mean, we have, you know, I mean, in the budget this year is $150,000 for an architect to design a police fire station. And that, we've got to get into the wording of being a non-lapsing account.
Right.
So that it would be for 5 years, because you wouldn't want to spend it necessarily all in the first day. But if in fact the voters decide that they want to look about in 3 to 5 years to have a new fire station, police station, it's going to cost $4.5, $5 million to build. And we also have a situation with our transfer station. There's about 5-6 years left of landfills in the state of New Hampshire. You think taking our trash down to Pennsylvania or down to Virginia to bury it in some old coal mine is going to be cheap? I think not. So we really need to think about how we handle our trash here in town, and that's going to cost money. The only way you can make a saleable product in trash is if you bale it. And if you bale it, you've got to have something to lift the bale with, you've got to have some place to store the bale until you have a time when you can market it.
You gotta have a bail up.
Right, you've got to have a bale. So I mean, you're looking again, I mean, I hate to throw a number out, but I'm going to say $1.5 million to revamp the transfer station.
You gotta have scales.
What's that? And you got to have scales?
Scales are expensive.
And that's why a lot of
And then you got to have more manpower to run it.
And that's why a lot of places now have been looking regional. I mean, I come from an area where you had regional fire departments. They covered 50-mile radius. You know, yeah, your property might burn down by the time they all got there, but everybody wasn't going out and buying pumper trucks. Everybody wasn't going out and buying ladder trucks, you know. The same thing with, you know, from the trash. Everybody's starting to look regional because no individual town, broadband, no individual town is going to be able to afford this and keep surviving. Right.
What is the tax rate gonna be? I mean,
too much.
How, just guess. So everybody that's listening to this will hear.
We can't, I mean, we can't
I
guess
can't
unless
guess.
we run it.
I mean, we don't know yet how much we're going to have to do in overlay for people that come in for abatements. We don't have that number. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to juggle around till October of next year. Your first bill in June will be half of what your bill was this year. Then your final one
in December.
you wanna really hang on, because you're just gonna get a good shock.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be the addition plus your first half.
I mean, when we set the tax rate last year, we raised the overlay, because overlay is, that's the one line in the budget you can overspend. Well, if we've got 400 people, I don't know how many it is, but if we've got 400 people coming in and saying, my December bill was wicked too high, you didn't do it right, you tell me how you came up with this number, and we have to give back 100,000 there, that's 100,000, they ain't going in the general fund, that's for certain.
I mean, it could be like $3.
Good.
Have a lot of people come in for abatement?
About 50,
50 so far. And when's the deadline on that?
March 1st.
Yeah, March 1st, so.
I mean, we might have a little better idea once the budget passes and we get our numbers sent down to Concord again a little bit closer to what we're actually dealing with. We might be able to know, but last year we said it was gonna go up about $1, and that's about what it went up, and I would guarantee it's gonna go at least $1, $1.50 this year. If not more.
What was it this year?
The tax rate,
Yeah.
2154.
What was the town portion?
I don't know.
Who's got the book? You got the book?
A lot less than the school
No,
district.
that's not very much. Pay it.
No, this one.
No, that one, we need
That was
the
18.
revenue sheets tomorrow.
I don't know what to tell you.
Alrighty, now that we've all had some good news,
Yeah.
Preparation.
can we just sing Kumbaya now?
Can I just make one other comment for Kelly
Yes.
for a second? The appointed finance committee or budget committee in this town has no authority over the school board whatsoever. You can't talk with them, you can't sit down with them. So whatever they do is basically their baby. But we have proposed, it's gonna be voted on at town meeting, an elected budget committee.
Municipal budget committee,
They would oversee
Which
both.
I did serve on one in Conway for a few years, elected.
which would have a selectmen's representative and a school board representative actually on the board, so that everybody's at the same table.
But you oversee everything that goes on in town. And it's not the means of this is not to fight the selectmen.
Right.
That's not the means of it at all. It is to have a little bit more authority instead of us just, like, these two girls have done it longer than I have. This is my first year, but I tell you, they spend some hours and they're on top of things. They're doing all they can. But report to the selectmen, and if they think it's a good idea, they kind of use it. If not, I mean, but it's like a lot of things that we all do in this town, it's free. You know, we do it because we like the town that we live in and take an interest in the town.
And
But
we wanna help the taxpayers and the people that won't be able to afford their taxes.
But this isn't to, the elected, municipal elected budget committee is not to have a feud with the selectmen, because we will continue to work with them, but we can just get the school involved in it and see if we can make a few changes there.
Look
We
at the
have-
whole picture instead of.
Well, we have no
just half.
authority now, you can't basically question anything.
Well,
Hopefully they'll get,
I will say as a selectman, I spend a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
An awful lot. I mean, I've spent the last 2 days steady, just focusing on this, trying to get prepared for tonight. And, you know, if I was the one that was chosen to be on that, I'd still be doing it. But if I wasn't, I could be doing something else maybe,
oh yeah.
you know? And, you know, I'll leave it at that.
Can I ask a question about that warrant article? Does an appointed or elected municipal budget, can they, you know, we read in the paper where there's some, Conway, where there's some pretty much divisive ideas between, does that, I've read RSA, what is it, 332?
3214,
And,
3250.
you know, I don't speak lawyer and I don't understand, but I'm given to understand that there's a variety of things, for instance, there's an emergency override. But does the municipal budget committee have the power to reduce the selectmen's budget or the school budget by X%?
Yes, they do.
And that's done.
Right.
I'm curious if that would be a help in a time when a lot of employees can travel 12 miles and get $5,000 for signing an application and get more money than we're able to pay.
Just like any town entity, I would assume all of the meetings would be open to the public. And I mean, speaking as just the volunteer budget committee, we love everybody's opinions. We want to listen to everybody's suggestions for anything, whether they know a lot about it or if it's just off the cuff remark of, have you ever thought of doing this? And being like, so if it was an elected municipal budget committee, I would assume that they would first of all take the position because they want to help the townspeople, and do their job for the townspeople the same way that the selectmen want to do right by the townspeople that vote for them and that live here.
I agree with you that, and it's traditional in this town, you know, the cemetery trustees and the trustees of the funds and stuff, they're long-serving, and they do that out of the goodness of their heart, and they're quite bright, and they know what they're doing.
I actually think, Steve, that as far as our town employees, whether it's the police department, transfer station, highway department, rec department, I don't know why they'd want to leave Tamworth.
They don't.
Because in my mind, they have a darn good salary to start with. They get paid well for this area compared to a lot of people. And when you start talking insurances, like a family plan roughly is like $22,000 for a town employee, and we as taxpayers pay 90% of it, and they only pay 10. I mean, that's almost unheard of in today's insurance.
Yeah, you don't get that too many places.
With employees, so, I mean, you can go to Town of Conway and you can look at some of their stuff, their highway departments in the union. Yeah, union people lots of times get paid more money, but I think if I was a town employee here, and I like living here, I wouldn't want to leave with the way they're getting used as far as wages and equipment. You know, we have our own town garage now, we have our own grader, our trucks and everything, which we never had before, so.
Although that.
All right, can we get back to the budget?
Sure.
I just have a question. Town employees that have insurance, do they, I know at the school budget hearing, they said they pay, that their employees pay a percentage. Do the town employees pay a percentage?
Yes,
They do.
we raised it last year to 10%.
We actually changed the insurance that the town offered, which was a lot less money, and we got more coverage for the people for less money. We got them dental, and I can't remember, we got vision, and I don't think we got vision, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, it was a less price, and I think it worked out well for the employees. I mean, I hope it did.
Plus-
That was the intent, that they would
plus-
actually, the employee would save money.
And we increased from 7% to 10% for their contribution.
I mean, I think we're about $1,250,000 that this town pays for health insurance for the school and town employees. So that's a pretty big chunk of money.
Sure is.
You know, now you talk about, you know, I mean, a lot of people don't like the idea, you think about national health care, but if we had national health care, yeah, you might wind up paying a few more dollars in your income tax. But I think it would well offset this $1,250,000. And everybody would be covered, you wouldn't have to worry about it. It wouldn't be such a issue that everybody worries about.
Well, I don't think the town is gonna be able to continue paying that for the health insurance, it's keep going up.
I agree, but
I'm just saying.
How's it gonna stop? That's the question.
All
How
right,
is
can we
it
get
gonna
back on
stop?
budget? Where we at?
We're spending way too much money.
Yeah, we are, okay. But I lost track. Are we on warrants
We
now?
didn't talk about the transfer station.
Oh, yeah.
I think we ought to talk about the transfer station.
Anybody got a green line?
A crayon?
You want a pen?
No, a green line number.
Oh,
what page, what page?
Willie is.
I don't know. I've been through it so many times, I've had to put it on a piece of paper that I could read.
It's on page 15.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bottom of 15, top of 16.
So, the transfer station, Employee cost at the transfer station is $134,812. Operational cost is $127,677. Upgrading the surface and cement pad is $25,000. Testing at the old landfill is $14,000. So total operation of the transfer budget is $301,489. And Glenn's not here to tell us why we should spend less.
Okay, hang on to that thought for a minute. Because why are you coming up with a different figure than I am?
Because
'Cause
he
he's-
added in this.
The CIP.
He's adding in the CIP, he's adding everything in.
Landfill testing and the $25,000 for the upgrade to the surface, which is a CIP. It's what costs to run the transfer station. That's how I broke it down, it's what it costs to run the transfer station.
Okay, so you're just not looking at their budget, you're adding
No.
other stuff into it.
I went to the warrant.
He combined everything.
And I went, well, we're spending in the warrant, and put it down on paper and said it's a transfer station.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Willie, did you include the debt service for the landfill closure in that group?
Yes, he
or
did.
no? Okay,
Yeah, that would be in the operational costs.
okay, great, thank you.
questions on the landfill?
Well, what's decided for the COLA?
1.6.
Yeah, you gotta ignore that, that didn't get corrected on there.
Yeah.
Does it have a revenue line?
The transfer station?
Yeah.
There is revenue.
Yeah, if you go to the yellow sheet.
Go to the yellow sheet. So one of the revenues we get is the
Transfer station.
landfill's closure bond, which last year we got $11,871. Then you have,
Sale of recyclables, 7,000, well,
okay, yeah, fix that.
projected 7,500.
It's on the second page.
Second page, that's right. Yeah,
3404.
and disposal fees, 37,500 is what we're estimating. Sale of recyclables, 7,500. Transfer station invoicing, I'm not sure what that actually is.
That's people
That's
who
people
charge.
Okay,
You
so
don't
they're
get to
ones that
charge for your
will be,
carpet.
okay, so you have another 4,500 income there. So there's a little bit of income, which all helps, but it all comes down to that.
And the other thing to remember is part of that revenue income comes from, we have a very generous person in town who's willing to recycle stuff that we can't get recycled anyplace else. And that's Aaron. I mean, he has helped the town out by taking recyclables that we wouldn't have bulk volume enough to ship anywhere else, and we ran into issues.
How come the facility permits is up so much?
What's
To
the line?
$600.
It's probably supposed to be 60.
Is that the stickers?
That's the
Yeah,
stickers
but
we
that
got.
would be not
Yeah,
in
but I mean,
revenue.
all of the other,
We don't sell
Is she
them, do
looking
we?
at revenue?
yeah, I'm on the
There's a
yellow
$5
can.
fee if you
lose
them or if.
Well,
Trade.
600, going from 65 to 600 seems like a
She's
lot.
just saying you've got 600 in the projected 2020.
No, no, I know, but what line are you looking at?
3404.10.
Facility permits.
So I'm saying it's probably
30,
60,
65, and it went to 600. I think that's,
Yeah.
that's for buying the stickers and it's in a Long Island road maybe.
Yeah,
No,
but
it's
wasn't-
probably a typo.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, but wasn't
Yeah,
the
I have
stickers-
that.
So you mean I gotta go back and change all my,
No, for revenue.
Yeah, but wasn't the stickers that was discussed, like every 2 years we purchased those too?
Yeah, but
we're gonna buy them this year,
But
You're
the
gonna buy
revenue,
this year.
Right.
this year.
the revenue is what we're saying is off.
We're
They
talking
had
about-
65 last year and it got increased to 600.
Okay.
Unless we're gonna
So I-
steal a lot of stickers so people can pay to buy more stickers.
So I apologize if I'm off a little bit now,
By how much?
So
like
you get a
$500 bucks,
$500, yeah.
$550 out of a $4 million
Yeah.
budget, I think that's not.
Your pie chart's gonna look pretty similar.
Okay, anything further on the transfer station? Questions, comments?
And this is what the whole pie looks like.
Can you make those available to us?
Yeah.
I'd be glad to.
So I think we covered everything but warrants, correct?
Yeah, we gotta go through a yea or nay the warrants. Right?
We gotta go through the A and A everything at the end.
Conservation, patriotic purposes,
We already did that,
general assistance,
did that,
health, parks and rec, animal control, street lighting,
did it,
transfer station,
Did it.
fire department, emergency management, ambulance, fire rescue, cemeteries.
Got $39,900 of it.
How about, or is it 32?
No, well, you've got a $7,000 warrant article for fencing at cemeteries that you gotta include in the cemetery.
Right.
okay, what number we starting on the warrant articles?
The one that requires yea or nay?
No, we do that after the public hearing.
Oh.
Right now, we just gotta go over the warrant articles.
We didn't talk about town clerk tax collector, or did we?
She's got a warrant article.
No, I mean,
He included her in the town
she
administration
did that.
Right.
Yeah, it was all grouped together.
Yeah, I mean, I could break it out, but I just felt there was a point where I was getting too much paper.
It's broken out in the warrant anyway.
Right, it is broken out in the warrant. I mean,
Only question, one thing I do have about the treasurer. She's doing more, a little bit more with the sewer, right?
We stipend her.
You do? Okay, that was
The
my
treasurer,
question.
anything we use from the town, we pay for. So the treasurer that we use from the town, because we have to have the town treasurer involved and issue our books, she's stipend. If we have to go through a lien process, which we haven't had to do yet to collect unpaid, because we're still working on figuring that out, we would have to stipend the tax collector to be able, for her time as well. Because if nothing else I've done, this is not gonna cost the town a single cent. I'm still working on liability insurance, but we'll get to that someday.
Did we ever pay the dollar fee?
We did in, I think it was November 1st.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
That's what he said.
As long as you have your foot, not your knee.
I think the dollar we owed for the purchase was paid in November because that's how long it took to get all the paperwork
So
done.
did you
But
get that all?
we still have,
Well, they were gonna turn all the money over at
it went
us.
to the TBA.
Okay, can we go to the warrant articles, starting at 25? And then once we close the public hearing, we're gonna go back and we'll vote on each one after the public hearing.
25, so you're gonna go
27.
through the,
What's that?
27.
Huh?
Article 27.
We already did the
the
sewer.
petitioned articles.
Right, we already
You
did
said
the sewer.
petition.
We did the sewer.
Yes.
Number
They're all-
27, where is that?
Well,
Uh,
if we're doing
Oh, we did the sewer, we
petitions,
already did that, so
It says by
26.
petition at the.
if you're doing petition, then you wanna start at Article, oh, I know, sorry, never mind.
27.
27, thank you.
Sure, what the heck.
So we're paying attention.
Okay, I'll read it, and then if any comments or questions or whatever, speak up and be heard. To see if the town will vote and raise appropriate the sum of $2,000 to the Tamworth Outing Club for support of the Cal Ripken and Home Run League baseball programs. Comments? Yes.
Sir, you're gonna have to read these again when you vote on them, so you don't, we haven't read all the other warrant articles. You could just say the name and the purpose
Okay,
and the
thank you.
dollar amount.
I like the way you
Save
think.
yourself a few words.
All right, thanks, Dave. Article 27, $2,000 for the Tamworth Outing Club. Hearing nothing. Article 28, $4,235 for Starting Point. Hearing nothing. Article 29, $5,000 for the Tamworth Scholarship Committee, Inc. Hearing nothing. Dave, thanks, buddy. This is going fast. Appreciate that. $5,000 to assist the Community Food Center. That's Article 30. Slow me down if I'm going too fast. Article 31. What?
Artie had the wrong one.
He's got the wrong
No,
one.
it's the one that I was given earlier this week. The
it's
article numbers
different.
aren't the same with the amount,
You want me to
so.
get a new one? Oh, you got it.
No, I got him a new one.
I got a new one.
Okay. Thank God.
I got a new one, chief.
Thank you,
We're
buddy.
on 31, so
31. Page 8, Artie.
Okay, I got you.
$3,822 for the Children Unlimited, Inc. Hearing nothing. $80,000 for the Tamworth Community Nurse Association. Hearing nothing. $21,000 for Meals on Wheels. Hearing nothing. Article 34.
I just, maybe a little explanation there from what I'm reading here. They charge $1.75 per meal.
Okay.
So they bill us, it's not that we're gonna give them 21,000. They will bill us for the number of meals they serve.
That's an improvement.
So it works better, because it used to be just, here's the money and whatever happened. Now it's the meal served, you pay for the meal.
So roughly how many people in town do we serve roughly for the 21,000?
I haven't got my calculator handy.
No.
With the taxes going up by, it's gonna be a lot more.
I got that right. What time do they stop anyway? What time do they come by the house?
It's not, that's,
Usually in the morning.
Meals, they're gonna bill us monthly for the number of meals.
I'd say Joanne was keeping those numbers. Joanne and the nurses,
They keep.
they keep the numbers.
John Wheeler
But
does
is
that.
this, the Meals on Wheels is, that's just for the Meals on Wheels, it's not for the congregate meal? Because all the people down there are expected to give a
$3.
$3 donation.
Right.
So if we're paying,
For that
and then they're paying for
No, I
it,
don't think that, I think it's completely different.
I think Joanne
well,
is
it's the
getting
same thing. Last year that was discussed about, they were
Right.
concerned that they were gonna lose the meals, the
Some
Monday
towns
meals.
don't pay anything. People go to them and they don't pay. Here, they all pay $3.
Well, it's asked for a donation, so they don't have to pay. They're asked for a donation, they kindly give $3 down there. I have never seen her say, you can't be served unless I get you $3, so.
Right.
But I know they charge $1.75 per meal for the ones that Joanne tracks. They
Delivers.
actually
The
charge
Meals
us
on Wheels.
$1.75.
Article 34, 2,500 for the Central New Hampshire VNA and Hospice. Article 35, 18,500 for the Bear Camp Valley School and Children's Center. Article 36, $5,444 for the White Mountain Community Health Center. Article 37, $2,000 for the MWB Sports Recovery Coalition. Recovery Support Program. Article 38, $1,443 for Tri-County Community Action Homeless Intervention and Prevention Programs. Will, do you have a figure on all that?
Yes, all those petition warrant articles are $150,944.
Thank you. I knew you would have that.
Nothing on the bus and, Mayor, nothing on the bus.
They never came, nothing came in.
And nothing on the fuel assistance.
Oh, maybe they got the message.
There were 3 that didn't come in that were on there last year.
What was the other one?
What was it?
Northern Human Services, but Darlene said that came in.
Oh, did it come in?
It's not listed here.
Yeah, she told me yesterday there were 3 and that one didn't come in.
With mental health center.
No, I know they turned it in.
Yeah, because she told us.
Yeah, I know they turned
We
it
can
in.
check.
Well, that'll change because they were
I don't
asking
know
for
where it
money.
is, but they turned it in.
Are any of these more than last year? The amount?
I think they're all pretty much the same. I mean, there might be a dollar or two difference because of population or something, but.
Can you say that number one more time, Willie?
150,944.
Yes,
But these all are a donation, correct?
correct.
There's nothing that says we have to give them the exact amount that they all ask.
Absolutely not.
Like if our tax rate's gonna, if the whole total budget's up 18-20%, I mean, it would be nice if we could just say we're gonna give you 18% less to try to cut it back. I don't know,
Well, that's for people to decide at town meeting.
on the
It's on the
floor.
floor.
Yeah.
Can I answer Madeline? The outing club last year was 2,000, the same amount. Starting point, last year had an amount of 3,357, so theirs did go up this year. Scholarship was the same.
Community food center.
The food center, 5,000 was the same. Children Unlimited was the same. Town nurse is the same.
already talked about Meals on Wheels changing.
Yeah, they didn't get in last year, so
Yeah,
they
no,
weren't
they
in
didn't.
here.
The V&A hospice,
They didn't make, I don't think they made it in last year either, did they? I don't see it.
I don't remember them making it in last year.
We used to have a really long audit.
here at Camp
Oh,
Valley.
here it is.
2,500, same.
Yep, same. Bear Camp Valley
Same.
is the same.
White
White
Mountain
Mountain
Community Health.
Community Health.
Is that-
Last year it was 5,289.
So they went up.
Couple hundred.
The Supports Recovery Coalition was $2,000,
Same.
and the Tri-County,
Homeless intervention.
I think that's new
That's a
this
new-
year.
I think it is
That's a
new.
new one this
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
for 14.
yep. So just a couple of them went up.
All right.
Starting point being the biggest.
Is starting point the domestic steakhouse?
Well, and that's like I'm sure you'll see heading down the road that, the Support Recovery Coalition and the Community Action Homeless Intervention is going to start climbing each year too, because just of the society changes.
When they turn these in, they tell how many people have been served in the town, right? Some of them?
Some of them might, but I don't know how much background information we get.
And I have a question too, well, you may not know the answer to this, but the town can actually make their own request for information that goes out with the,
Definitely.
so if we wanted more information, like how many served from Tamworth and that, we can look at what we request now.
Well, one of the,
Because I know when we went through the nurses, they came in and they gave us the whole list of what they served, where they served and everything.
Right.
But that was because we pulled in those people and actually questioned them.
because I know the Recovery, Supports Recovery Coalition, the first year we gave to them, they had sent an email saying they didn't want it. They still got the money and they used it to pay their mortgage payment. You know, so.
That again, I think we need to look at our paperwork and revamp and say, if you're gonna submit an article, these are at least key questions we wanna answer, how many residents.
We used to get all that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
David?
Can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
I know it'll be 11 more pages in the town report, but you could ask these people who are asking for money, that got money last year, to report on what they did with the money they got last year.
They do.
I like the way you think.
Well, we used to.
I know,
We used to all put it in a report.
I'm suggesting revising that fraction.
Well, unfortunately, every page costs an additional 15
I
cents to print.
I prefaced my remarks by saying,
That's right, you opened it. I mean, we have looked at it, we have looked at stuff like that, but,
I think it would be real helpful for people
yeah.
To see what.
they're doing.
Or if not in the report, to at least put together a pamphlet of.
That you could hand
That
out.
you could hand out ourselves,
Or
so
just-
that people could look at it, and if you weren't
You
interested
mean,
in looking at it,
normally
you
in the
take it.
past, they've had a representative there
Yeah, yeah.
that could get up at the microphone and say, we are requesting this much money, this is where it goes, this is what we do with it. And I think that if you're coming to the town looking for money, that it behooves you to have somebody, a representative of your department, that's able to get up and speak about it. If you really want this town to give you money, you should be able to stand up and say, yes, Tamworth, we're asking you for $5,000 because this is what our program does and this is where the money goes.
And how many?
And how many are served and how many people in Tamworth are served. Yes, so I think it should be better off that if you put in a warrant article like that, you show up at the town meeting and speak on it.
They always used
If
to.
it's pulled.
Otherwise it gets pulled.
Well, but only if it gets
Only
pulled
if it
right
gets
now.
pulled.
Yeah, 'cause now we do them in a block and unless somebody says pull and you're reading through them.
You don't.
Yeah, I almost think that they should all be done individually and ask if there's any representative there to speak upon
And if you didn't show up,
it. Yeah, that's right.
All you have to do is raise your hand and say you wanna make a motion that all petition warrant articles are done individually. Becky, you'll be there forever.
So that the representatives can speak.
The
But let's do it at town meeting, so only the
The Tam-
people that are there can decide.
Tamworth Finance Committee, you had to show up with all of your statistics, you had to show up with what you did last year, and I had to go in front of that, and they knew what they were talking about, and there was paperwork that was over my head in terms of finances, but you had to plop it down, and those folks would consider it. And the reason why we're not doing that anymore is because we didn't have people who would do the finance committee too, but it sounds like.
That got changed.
We couldn't, we did it
In
one year.
2017, we pulled everybody, well, we came and said to the
Right.
selectmen, these are the people we have questions about.
Right.
And we did pull them in and we reviewed as a group.
Yeah.
This year, they didn't do that
But it's my understanding,
because,
It's a
being on the-
petition, we couldn't question her.
right.
being on the Tamworth Scholarship Committee for quite some time, as the treasurer, I have to put in all of my paperwork through the town. Earlier this past fall, I was told I didn't have to do that anymore. But one of the other girls said it would be a good idea to have that. So all that information is that Selectmen's paperwork with us, so they could make up papers to have at the town meeting, showing what these organizations do, asking for $5,000 or whatever, because the town already has that. They request that. Right?
Alrighty,
What-
so.
Can I ask Becky, what is the name of the number of the form that you can look at nonprofits to see what they're worth?
990?
Is it 990?
I don't know, I
Oh,
use,
Nonprofits are supposed to file an IRS 990
Right.
tax
correct.
form.
The site you can look up any nonprofit that files is GuideStar.
GuideStar, right.
And you can go in and see what their net worth is and everything, and then you
And I would
look at this and
recommend
go.
people doing that for some of these organizations.
But just be aware that the data there is not current.
Right,
It's the last time they filed and the paperwork got scanned and
right.
There's a
You can
couple
look
year
at the
lag.
dates, because some of them have a large amount. A lot.
Alrighty, I think we covered it. I think most of you are interested in how we're gonna vote on it. Yes, David?
But before you continue, this may be because I had a outdated version of the screen sheet. I could not reconcile that to the warrant.
Neither could I.
I think that's a problem. Can I just say politely?
Thank you.
I noticed that the $150,000 emergency revolving funds were, yeah, that was not included, and the sewer capital reserve fund doesn't appear here anywhere. So I just think if you're gonna hand out stuff or put it in the annual report, it would be good to keep track of, does it match?
The sewer fund wouldn't necessarily show.
It's on the warrant. What I was trying to do is I was trying to reconcile the warrant
Right.
to the spreadsheet, because
And
that's
then
what we're
warrant.
talking about.
Right.
So, anyway.
And that we'll discuss when our finance person gets back to, we'll ask why there's such a variance, because I don't know, like, I looked at just the back page where it says less 2020 from program revenue, CIP grants, Tamworth Sewer, library patrons, and bridge cap reserve, and I can't reconcile that with stuff that's already in the line, so I've gotta talk to Kathy and say, please help me out here, understand your paperwork.
I was actually able to do that, if you go to the warrant page.
With the warrant, I can reconcile it, but
No, I'm saying there's a tab on her spreadsheet that's called about warrant revenue,
Yep.
and they're all there, and I was able to match everything up. I didn't do what Willie did, was try to reconcile the revenue, because that was beyond my pay grade. But it could use some work.
Yep.
And then the other thing I just wanted to say is, if you said that the taxable funds, or funds to be raised from taxes was 2.675175, you had read that number off earlier.
I think it was 2,675,175.
So if the total assessment is about 400 million, that's a $1.50 tax rate impact.
Yeah.
just for the town.
Just for the town.
Just for the town portion.
That's not the
Yeah,
school. What
that's-
did the
It's
school
not counting
say?
those.
58 cents.
Yeah,
So we're looking at $2 plus.
$2, yes.
At least.
If the county doesn't
And the
Plus
county,
the-
we
plus
haven't
the
got
county.
The county went up.
I don't know what the county
Excuse
is.
me, I haven't seen their last budget, but it is my understanding the county was going up.
The process is not finished,
Correct.
and I will do my best to.
Do they only do Meals on Wheels for noontime, or you can get breakfast?
No, it's only noon
We
time.
wait around,
We're gonna
might
need
get
it.
breakfast.
We're
I
gonna
know.
need it.
But I'm thinking about supper now.
Alrighty, well, thank you everybody for this wonderful information that's been provided this evening.
You have this, you can write on when we say yay and nay.
Cyanide pills will be right around the corner as you walk out.
Unless they wanna hear how we say yay or nay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, just make sure you reaffirm the votes that you took at 5 o'clock.
Well, we've
so-
gotta go through this warrant yet and say yay
Yeah,
or
we're
nay.
still on.
Oh, okay.
I know, it makes it sound like
Thank
our
you, but don't let me
meeting's
forget
over,
that. But I'm gonna close the public hearing. Oh,
I got one more item about one of the warrant articles.
okay.
but- Yeah, go for it.
Warrant article, it was 3, the Philbrook Neighborhood Road relocation. I know it's not a budget item, but
Number 5.
if this is if there's another opportunity where I can speak about warrant articles, I'd be happy to delay my comments.
So I guess the question is, we aren't gonna finalize the warrant tonight? We're gonna do that on the 3rd, because we're gonna talk about that RSA on the roads, and closing the roads.
I mean, we can vote on what we got here.
Well, I think it's better to do the whole thing at
Okay.
once, to be honest.
That's fine with me, isn't it?
But
Should move us right along.
Well, I think that everybody's here, they're more interested in hearing what we're voting on.
yeah, okay, but we can skip
Yeah.
over those ones that are.
Yeah,
need work.
absolutely.
But, so we won't be
But I think
finalizing the budget, I
Correct.
mean the warrant.
No, but
Okay.
we're definitely voting
Right,
on
I
the
just didn't
articles
want-
that we talked about tonight with everybody
So-
patiently going through it.
Robin's got a question.
So the time crunch is the town report
Yes.
and getting it on time. And if you wait until next week to have your voting on all of this stuff,
It's not gonna make the town report.
your votes won't be in the town
Oh,
report.
no, we're voting tonight.
Okay, thank you.
It's just,
Good, I thought that Willie was saying we weren't.
the problem
But
is,
there's several articles in the warrant that need to be amended so that they can be specific and be findable in 100 years.
There are several articles in the warrant?
Well, this one on Philbrook Neighborhood Road, using tax map and lot numbers, is not the best way to locate it. The best way to locate it is using longitude and latitude, which you can get off LiDAR and you pin it and you know right where it
But
is.
that's not a budget item.
No, but I mean.
So that can be, yeah.
And I mean, the question is, do we vote to recommend or not recommend articles without money?
No,
You
you
don't,
don't.
you don't
Right,
have to,
so-
you can.
So, but if you're trying to get this warrant slammed into the printer,
Yeah, we can be rewritten, but we're not voting on it because it doesn't have any money.
Right.
So let's move on.
So who's gonna rewrite it?
And what's the date for the
Robin.
printer?
Tuesday. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Is it?
no, it is Tuesday, it's the 11th.
yeah. You're close.
It's
Just
Tuesday.
really close.
Tomorrow's Friday. Oh.
Drop it all in Dropbox on Tuesday.
Cause there's another,
Holy schmoly.
that's why I say, we don't have much time to get the other if it's going to the Dropbox. And that's the dead end date to get it back here in time to get it out.
Right.
Only because it's something we decided tonight's gonna take a day or so to get wrapped up.
Okay, hearing no further comments on the budget,
Well, it is, it's the warrant, so that's part of the budget.
This is the budget.
Right.
we're going to close the public hearing. And at this time, if you would be so kind as to read the articles and we will,
I can't believe you're doing that to me. Are you just doing budget articles, money articles?
money articles, correct?
Okay, so we'll start with Article 4 then, which is by petition.
Oh, wait a minute, before we do that then, are we taking off this on these, like Article 3, then we're taking off whether the Board of Selectmen recommend or don't recommend that article?
You do not have to put your recommendation on anything. The only requirement is on money articles.
Well, I'm saying then, should we strike this if we're
You
not?
can, yep, you don't have to, you can vote on them if you want.
Because Article 3 does say that it recommends or doesn't recommend.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So if we're not gonna go through each article and recommend or not recommend, then we need to scratch that line off.
Yeah, so just remove the Board of Selectmen recommend this article on
Yeah, 1 and
article
2 don't
number
have
3.
it, but 3 does.
Well, 3 is Article 5.
3 and 5.
Yes, and you're striking those.
Right,
Yes,
All of them.
already done, already
we already
struck.
struck it.
Already
All right,
She's way ahead of us.
continue on.
Okay, Article 4 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $92,589 for salary and benefits for the current year for the position of town clerk tax collector. Note, the amount requested under this article shall be used for an annual salary of $62,308 to include 20 paid days off, FICA and Medicare in the amount of $4,767, health and dental insurance premium. The town's health and dental insurance plan currently with a 90-10% split for a 2-person policy, and to include a flexible spending account of $1,000, all total $18,554 with contributions to the New Hampshire State Retirement System at the effective contribution rate of 11.17% through December 30th, 2020. And that total is $6,960. The retirement fund shall be dispersed as long as the eligibility requirements are met in accordance with the New Hampshire retirement system. Also, if a midterm appointment of a new town clerk tax collector should be made, a salary benefit package will be determined by the Board of Selectmen at the time of the appointment. Majority vote required.
So move.
Second.
You're the chairman.
I say yes.
Oh, we're voting whether we support it?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that
Do we have to say all in favor or?
No,
Okay.
because we're not approving it, the
Right.
voters do, so you're just giving your opinion. So, I say yes.
I say yes.
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 That would be 4 yeses,
All right.
And 1 absent.
1 absent.
Article 7, which is by petition, I'm sorry I said that for the other one. To see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $96,986 to cover the wage, benefits, and outfitting of a police officer to be added to the staff of the Tamworth Police Department. Moving forward, this amount will be added to the operating budget of subsequent years of the Tamworth Police Department and will be itemized over multiple lines to include wages of $49,920, Medicare $724, retirement $14,192, insurance $24,630, holiday stipend $1,920, uniforms $2,000, equipment $3,600. Majority vote required.
I say yes.
I say no.
I say no.
I say no.
And could you please highlight, like you did in Article 4, the 96986?
Yes.
3 yes.
So yours was you wanted to.
Oh, whoa.
Right at the beginning of the one.
Whoa!
I thought, wow.
I thought we were voting.
You was the one that made the motion not to do the 2.
What am I doing?
Come on, chief.
Well, you know what? 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
Past your bedtime.
Whoa, I don't need a mulligan on that. I apologize. No, absolutely no.
Well, you didn't move and do any of that,
Well,
so
I
you just
figured
went into the, yeah.
Holy
I thought when he said
That was
so
like
moved,
a-
we were gonna vote like we normally vote, but.
out of control.
So that's a 4-1.
Whoa, what was I thinking?
So do you want to,
I don't know.
I thought we were at the police department. I'm sorry, it was me.
We were.
Okay, that's 4 no's.
Okay,
Cool.
gotcha.
Okay, I'm awake.
That's number 7.
one abstention?
Number 7.
One abstention.
Article 7, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Article 8, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $623,808 for the general government operations. To offset this appropriation, $18,000 will come from grants and the balance of $605,808 will be raised by taxation. Board of Selectmen, $22,698, Town Administration, $202,653, Town Clerk Tax Collector, $47,922, Election and Registration, $10,847, Treasurer's Expense, $7,149, Data Processing, $39,298, Town office server, 25,000. Revaluation of property, 34,168. Legal expenses, 15,000. Personnel administration, 1,600. Planning, 8,015. Zoning, $53. Town office building, 28,890. Townhouse, 24,650. Cemeteries, 32,900. Property liability insurance, 40,577. Economic development, advertising and regional association, 3,950. Moose Plate grant, $10,000. Local emergency operation grant, $8,000. Debt service, principal and interest, $60,438. Majority vote required.
Don't let me vote first anymore.
I'm voting yes.
Wait, does it have to be moved, or?
No.
No, but I wish we had done it that way, because then it's easier to remember how to
Right.
vote, but,
We won't go do that.
well, he'd remember whether we.
What do you
what
say
vote
now?
said.
I say yes.
I say yes.
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 Article 9, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $748,850 for public safety.
I object
I checked.
to this warrant because Dana already put 6,000 out of it. Save
Right,
the
so
flooring,
we need
so
to make
need
that
subtract
7,400, I mean, 7?
742850.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
David.
742,850.
I'm gonna cross the flooring out.
Article 9, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $742,850. Police department, $390,780. Ambulance contract, $35,547. Fire and rescue department, $280,302. Fire station maintenance, $18,000. Ambulance billing, $3,000. Forest fires, $5,877. Emergency management, $5,143. Animal control, $4,191. Majority vote required.
I say yes.
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 Article 10, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Tamworth Board of Selectmen to enter into a 5-year contract for services with Action Ambulance Service, Inc., beginning on April 1, 2020, for the purpose of providing customary, local, and essential emergency ambulance services to the citizens of and visitors to the town at the following cost. From April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021, annual amount of $230,720, monthly amount $19,226.66. April 1st, 2021 to March 31st, 2022, annual amount $237,641, monthly amount $19,803.46. April 1st, 2022 to March 31st, 2023, annual amount $244,778.85, monthly amount $20,397.55. April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024, annual amount $252,113.98, monthly amount $21,009.50. April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025, annual amount $259,677.39, monthly amount $21,639.78. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $173,039.94 for the contract period from April 1st to December 31st, 2020, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to execute all documents and take all other actions necessary to carry out the purpose of this article. This contract contains a non-appropriation clause. Majority vote required, not requited.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
At some point with this new ambulance service, are the selectmen at town meeting gonna voice what we had talked about a few meetings ago, that the more people call the ambulance service for a Band-Aid or something, it's gonna cost us that much more money? I hope somebody's gonna speak on that so the townspeople understand that.
Well, I think we can speak on it to say that this is the general contract price, but depending on the percentage of calls we have, it could increase a little bit or it could decrease. And to use the ambulance judicially.
Yeah. Okay.
The other thing I was gonna ask you, Robin, only because of me, is the 173,339.94. Could we bold that with the April 1, December 31st, so people, they, you know, to me, if it's not bolded, it feels like it's being tucked in that paragraph and noticeable. I don't want that.
And I also would like to see it be, strike the 94 cents and make it 40.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing else that has a sense in the whole thing.
Yes.
Other than our payments.
Well, right, but I mean, I told them we were gonna appropriate the full amount.
I know.
Remember that?
I know,
I
that's
told them
why
we'd
I
give
thought
them
we'd get
6
rid of
cents.
these two and round them.
So, we need to vote on that, don't we?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Dan.
Yes.
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 Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 to purchase and outfit a new police vehicle. Majority vote required.
Quick and easy.
Yes.
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 Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $208,381 for a forest fire utility vehicle, with $20,000 to be raised by taxation, and the remaining $188,381 from a grant. If the grant is not received, this article will be null and void. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $24,000 for a gear washer and dryer for the purpose of washing, drying firefighter gear, with $2,000 to be raised by taxation, the remaining $22,000 from a grant. If the grant is not received, this article will be null and void. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the Rescue Vehicle Capital Reserve Fund previously established. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 15, to see if the town will vote to blah, blah, blah. You don't need to.
Well, no, that would be considered money because you're establishing a account.
It already says you recommend this.
Well,
They all say that, but anyway, okay, I'll read it. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to establish an ambulance service revolving fund pursuant to RSA 3195H. The money received from ambulance billing services shall be allowed to accumulate from year to year and shall not be considered to be part of the town's general fund, unreserved fund balance. The town treasurer shall have custody of all monies in the fund and shall pay out the same only upon order of the fire department, no further town meeting approval required. These funds may be expended only for ambulance supplies as stated in RSA Chapter 31, and no expenditure shall be made in such a way as to require the expenditure of other town funds that have not been appropriated for that purpose. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 And it's definitely just for supplies, is that correct?
Correct. We had that
I thought we
verified.
had changed that to fire wards instead of fire department.
I thought we did too, but
Because doesn't, I mean, who's the fire department?
Is that what you want it to say?
Well, I don't know, as Rich gets authorization, the fire chief gets authorization to expend any money. I think he does it. I don't think that the fire wards have a,
right, maybe it should say fire chief, not the whole department. It should be
Right.
specified, maybe the fire chief. Cause he has to sign, he has to sign
so-
for
I
the,
don't know that you
you can do that.
do that. I think the fire wards you can.
And he can have the fire wards sign at their monthly meeting, his receipts for his
Or
medical
can the
supplies.
fire wards give him permission to do it then?
I don't think they can. I think the fire wards he may be able to take that receipt and sign it. He should present it to the fire wards and they should sign off authorizing the payment.
I think C2 can sign for,
Not under this RSA, I don't think so. The fire wards, I think, would have to sign it because it's coming from the town treasurer as a reimbursement for just this. I don't know, we'd have to look at that.
Yeah. Okay.
Leave it as it is now.
Okay.
Do we vote on it?
well, this,
We did, but
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of,
It's a man
Submitting it.
who can sign for it.
Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $150,000 for architectural drawings for new central fire/police station. This article is to be non-lapsing for 5 years, majority vote required.
Yes.
Did Dan say anything?
He did, he
Yeah.
whispered it out, it's
he
hurting
always
man.
said it.
Well, let's put it this
Twist it
way, we
around.
can't keep buying equipment that you can't put in the buildings we own. Doesn't do you much good to buy a truck if you can't squeeze it in the building you own, you're gonna have to have a drawing.
I'll say
firm.
yes.
He's dehydrated.
Yes,
Mel saying yes?
I think it's
I mean, I think
4-1.
it's, let
It's
the,
4,
it-
1 absent.
as we said
That's what I
earlier,
say, 4-1.
the people are gonna decide.
That's
Correct.
right.
They wanna go forward or they don't wanna go forward.
So is that 4 yes?
Boy,
Yeah.
yeah, puts them on the spot.
He breathed it out, it wasn't his last breath, but it was getting close.
Are you
It
sure
hurt
it was
me.
a yes or just a breath?
I heard yes.
No, it was a yes.
It was a hurtful
Run out of
yes. It
gas.
hurt.
Now I was gonna have to bring out my mask.
Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,215,531 for public works. Highway Department, $652,642. Road reconstruction, $200,000. Pickup truck, $50,000. Streetlights, $11,400. Well monitoring and testing, $14,000. Transfer station operations, $262,489. Grade and pave gravel driveway, $13,000. Repair cement pad, $12,000. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 18, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $650,000 for replacement of the Bunker Hill Bridge. $481,258 will come from Bridge Capital Reserve, and $168,742 to be raised by taxation. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $23,243 for health and welfare. Health officer, $689. General assistance, $22,554. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 20, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $122,002 for culture and recreation. Parks and Recreation, $103,018. Riding mower, $4,000. Swim program, $7,284. Patriotic purposes, Family Day, $7,700. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 21, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,881 for Tamworth Conservation Commission expenses. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 22, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $189,100 for the Cook Memorial Library, of which $170,269 to be raised through taxation and $18,831 to come from library income from donations, grants, fees, etc. Such funds to be expended under the direction of the Board of Library Trustees. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 23, to see if the town will vote to establish a contingency fund for the current year for unanticipated expenses that may arise, and further to raise and appropriate $150,000 to be put in the fund. This sum to come from undesignated fund balance. Any appropriation left in the fund at the end of the year will lapse to the general fund. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 24, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $7,000 for repairs to the fencing at the cemeteries. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Do we want to read them the way they are here, or do you want to change 26 to 25 and 25 to 26?
Yes,
We do.
establish the capital reserve first, that was our problem last year.
So that can be 25.
Yeah. Okay, so Article 25 is to see if the board will, to see if the, I still think that has to say to see if the town will vote to establish a capital reserve fund.
Yes, it does.
Under the.
Thank you.
to establish a capital reserve fund under the provisions of RSA 35-7 for the Tamworth Sewer Commission, naming the sewer commissioners as agents to expend, and to place the sum of $3,232 as an initial contribution to be taken out of the sewer enterprise fund balance. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 26, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $21,198 for the Tamworth sewer system, of which $16,198 shall be used to operate the sewer system, and $5,000 shall be placed into the sewer capital reserve. This appropriation will be completely funded from sewer user fees, such funds to be expended under the direction of the sewer commissioners. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 27, by petition to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,000 to the Tamworth Outing Club for the support of the Calverton and Home Run League baseball programs. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 28, by petition to respectfully request that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $4,235 in support of Starting Point, providing advocacy and support to victims of domestic and sexual violence and their children. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 29, by petition to see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for the Tamworth Scholarship Committee, Inc. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 30, by petition, warrant article for the town of Tamworth to raise and appropriate the same sum as last year of $5,000 to assist the community food center for food pantry serving Tamworth people. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 My question is, we need to say majority vote required, seeing it's a petition warrant article. It doesn't matter whether we.
Still has to have a majority. Not a majority of you, a majority of the.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's what I meant, I got
Okay.
tired of that after a while,
All
I
right,
realized
I
it
was-
was majority of the text, so
Okay,
it's not.
all right.
Article 31,
Thank
by
you.
petition, to see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,822 for the Family Resource Center at Children Unlimited, Inc. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 No.
You're gonna mess up my whole minute.
I'm sorry.
3, 1, 1.
Wouldn't you like to reconsider?
Can I put a maybe?
Article 32, by petition, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $80,000 to support the Tamworth Community Nurse Association for the purpose of continuing services to the residents of Tamworth. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Now you got me scared, I went right into the thing. Article 33, by petition, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $21,000 to provide meals for Tamworth Meals on Wheels recipients. Monies to be billed monthly to the selectmen at the rate of $1.75 per meal served. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Yes. Should selectmen say town? Where does that say that? Monies will be billed to the town?
Yeah.
Well, by petition, however they did it.
Yeah.
You can't change the petition.
Right. So we can explain it.
You can do typos, but you can't do.
You can't change the purpose.
Right.
Right.
Article 34, by petition, to see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,500 for the annual support of services provided to the citizens of this community by the Central New Hampshire VNA and Hospice. The VNA Hospice Agency has been servicing town residents for many years, and the town has consistently supported the VNA and Hospice. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 Article 35, by petition to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $18,500 for support of the Tamworth children ages 5 through 12 using the out-of-school hours school-aged childcare services at Bear Camp Valley School and Children's Center, Tamworth Preschool, Inc., a nonprofit organization. These services include before and after school, vacation weeks, and summer programs for Tamworth children ages 5 to 12. This request does not include any preschool programming. Majority vote required.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Article 36, by petition, to see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,444 for the support of White Mountain Community Health Center to help meet the healthcare needs of the uninsured and underinsured residents of the town of Tamworth. Majority vote required.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna abstain. Gonna throw you off, Peg, I'm
You
sorry.
did. You
What's
threw
the
me
vote?
off too.
3 yes and 1 abstention.
Two abstentions.
Two abstentions.
Oh, 2 abstentions.
Well,
What absent?
one absent.
Oh,
Yeah,
one-
and
one
you don't
abstention.
count that vote.
You don't
You
count.
don't count that vote. It's the people that are here is only get recorded, that's it.
Okay.
yes,
I don't
one
write it
abstain.
So it's 301. Article 37, by petition, to see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,000 for MWD Supports Recovery Coalition Recovery Support Programs, Family Peer Support and Recovery Referral Programs for Substance Abuse Disorders. Majority vote required.
Yes.
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 I didn't hear Becky, but.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, yes.
Article 38, by petition, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $1,443 for Tri-County Community Action Homeless Intervention and Prevention Programs, a community service program provided by Tri-County Community Action Program, Inc. Majority vote required.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
3-1.
3-1.
Also, don't forget, somebody has to look up Auburn Human Services,
The city, yeah.
because that did get turned in, so that has to be here
Yeah,
somewhere.
Darlene told us it got turned in. Maybe they must have requested money if they turned it in, because she told us 2 weeks ago that it got turned in.
So how are we gonna deal with that?
Because we can't approve it enough.
How-
Approve it unless we
so-
work it in this week.
Who said it got turned in?
Darlene?
Oh, okay.
Was it on the draft?
No, because she was waiting for it to be turned in.
She was still waiting for it to be turned in yesterday.
That's not what she told us last week.
No, it got turned in, well over a week ago.
Yeah, I
who
was just
turned it
saying.
I can find out. My daughter works for New Horizons, which is a part of Auburn Human, but
Yeah.
I told her that they didn't put anything in, and she said they had a new person up there, and the next day they sent it in.
I know she spoke with somebody.
So I know it came in.
So what do we do about that?
Well, we can definitely, it can go in and it's just not put down if we voted yea or nay. And then
And
at
we
the
can-
town meeting, we can say whether we support it or if we don't.
We're not gonna be able to get this warrant. It's gonna have to be re-reviewed again.
So,
What?
so what goes into your town report is a tentative warrant, because it's not the posted warrant. So,
It's
We
not
could-
the warrant. We sign the warrant that goes in the town report. That's the warrant.
okay.
You
Okay,
said it has to go out the 11th, correct?
So that means we're meeting here Monday morning, or tomorrow, one or the other.
I can't be here Monday.
Oh, we meet before. I'm going to be.
Just call the judge and say you can't make it.
Jury duty.
Oh,
So we can have it tomorrow morning, or tomorrow,
David's got a comment.
We'd have-
I got a draft that I picked up earlier in the week, and it was on the draft, it was out on the table. Clearly, the draft has been
Maybe I get it, 'cause I saw it
revised
earlier.
because
Yeah, that was the first draft, I think.
is that it?
Do you have
But
it?
it has it on it. I got it, David.
So does that also have,
Blue Loon.
Yes.
Blue Loon?
Yes. It
Yeah,
has-
so she copied from last year and put all of them in there, and that happens. I mean, that's what everybody does when they put their warrant together.
so just because it's there doesn't mean the
Just
action.
because it's in that
Yeah,
draft,
it says draft.
yeah.
But Darlene did
No,
give us.
she did tell us
Sat
that
there,
they
sat there.
submitted it in. She told us,
Should be here tomorrow.
she told us
so
the end of
let's
the week.
not haggle over it.
Well, we gotta come back to
Well, I
sign off on
guess what
this
we
and
will
get it
do is
addressed
we will recess our meeting
tonight.
tonight until specified time tomorrow to deal with it.
See you tomorrow, Peg.
That would be the only way I can think to handle it without renoticing. You know,
Another
until
whole
Monday.
But we don't know what the amount is. David's saying just vote on it now, but we
Well,
don't.
Whatever it is.
Can you go look and see if it's in,
I don't see anything
She doesn't
from
have her
Auburn
keys.
Human.
Do you
I
have
got,
her
I have my
keys?
keys on me.
can you go look and see if it's in the office?
Yes.
That would help.
We all have our keys,
Robin, I
right?
got, my God.
You have a key? Thank you.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break. No petition. So you snooze, you lose.
No, they sent this, but they didn't send the petition warrant.
Oh,
So,
no money.
no money. With that being said,
Now what? You make a motion that we accept the warrant? No. No? We're done with it?
Because we've got some changes we need to make to the warrant. And I guess what we've done is we've gone through and voted on the money issues. And I would propose that we, once we get all our other business done, we recess this meeting until time certain tomorrow. And Darlene will be back and we can edit Article 5, and also the addition of the article reference the closure of town roads to be summer cottage roads.
Right, that's the name of that article, I can't remember it. 30 something?
what do we gotta do to Article 5?
Longitude and latitude.
Amend it so that it gives longitude and longitudinal points as to the start and stop, so it can be found in the future.
Do we know what they are?
We will by tomorrow morning.
Yes, we do.
What?
Yes, we do.
You do? You got them already?
I do.
What are they, Dave?
I wrote it up,
Can you email it to us?
Or can you read it and then
it's kind of ugly, is the problem. I would like a chance to.
Thank you.
There's too many coordinates, and I would love a way to make it simpler.
See if the town will vote to discontinue completely the old portion of Philbrook Neighborhood Road, said portion being described in 2 parts. A, beginning at 43 degrees 54, 1.4 north 71, 15, 39.6 degrees west, NAD 83. And did everybody understand that?
Yeah, I got it.
And running southerly for approximately 250 feet to a point at 43 degrees 53, 59.2 north, 71 degrees 15, 37.5 west. And B, beginning at the point 43 degrees 53, 55 north, 71, 15, 34.4 west, and running southerly for approximately 250 feet to a point at 43 degrees 53, 52.8 north, 71, 15, 32.8 west, and further to accept as a Class 5 public road new portion of Philbrook Neighborhood Road in its current location, where constructed pursuant to the town's vote of 1972, Article 34, and dedicated by highway easement deeds of Sedgwick and Peabody in 1973, Carroll County Register of Deeds, Book 550, pages 381 and 382. Majority vote required. David, thank you very much for that.
Can I just ask where that particular piece is on?
Yeah.
I just told you!
No, I don't care about all that.
Can you repeat that?
we can tell you exactly where it is.
Okay.
A little bit north of the Cannon's house, the Sedgwicks, the road used to go right in front of their cottage, and they didn't like that, so they wanted to move it to the west. So there's a new piece of road that curves around to the west. It rejoins what's now Rachel Claus's driveway at the north end. It's about.
I know where you are.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Get out your compass and your GPS. Yes!
Dan, could you repeat? I didn't get all those numbers.
Do we have to do this, whether we recommend it or not recommend it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause there's no money.
Right.
We're
So the
straight on
only other,
paper.
the only other one is the RSA concerning cottage roads and.
Get that one.
Okay, so why can't we just amend that?
Well, that's, Robin was saying something.
Yeah, it's not, the Board of Selectmen have the authority to decide roads, doesn't go to town meeting.
No, this one does,
Why?
because this is the closure of a road.
Oh, okay.
This is a closure of road to make them summer cottage roads only.
We brought that up at the beginning of the year, because Richard had quit plowing because somebody got stuck in a road, and I said, why don't you put Jersey barriers up? He said he could, but then we actually found the RSA that says, from this time in year to this time in year, and the town has to accept it in order for him to make that decision, and the roads have to be named that he's going to close.
So we need a warrant article on that?
Yeah,
Has a warrant article been written?
not yet.
I know.
Well, she was gonna wait
So why is it just coming up now?
Well,
because
we're,
But somebody
Okay, so you
brought
don't
it
have
up
an
to-
answer, it's okay.
Well, we do.
Well, somebody brought it up during the traffic regulation article.
right,
And it's been an ongoing outstanding issue for a while.
For years.
and to be in compliance with state statute.
So,
So, who's gonna write it? Dan?
Oh, what the heck?
Well, I mean, the trouble is, we can't I mean, that's the only thing outstanding on this.
yeah, why does it have to go into this year?
Because probably Richard wants to close some of the roads.
Well, we've done it for how many years now? And I'm not going by if we've done it in the past, it's correct.
You can just say, why do we have to address it this year?
Here's plowed driveways, we go back there?
But if something happened on that section of road, would the town be liable for something happening there where you haven't really got anything down yet?
Well, technically, you can't close off the road without a vote of the townspeople to do so.
Okay,
So they put a Jersey barrier up there, close the road,
yeah.
and somebody runs into the Jersey barrier, they probably could sue you for that.
Okay, can we make an amendment on the floor?
If the fact,
It's on the warrant.
you gotta have it on the warrant.
How long is it gonna take to write this up?
But it's not that it takes long to write it, I can do the RSA, we have to get the names of the roads, because the roads have to be specific.
Right, you gotta be specific as where they
The
are.
problem is, to get it on here, we're all gonna have to come back in and sign a warrant,
Okay.
and vote a warrant.
Do you know the names of the roads?
I think I know them all, but I
We
don't know
need-
exact location,
We need to
exact
consult
location.
Richard to know
We should
exactly.
do it in the same manner as what we just did Philbrook Neighborhood Road.
Right.
So it's findable in the future.
I suppose we could hold a special town meeting if we had to.
Oh, God, no.
When we get down the road, we might have a few other items we might have to hold a town meeting for.
The town meeting can do it, town meeting does not have to do it if you receive a petition to have it done.
Right. So we'd have to be petitioned by people living on the road.
Nope.
Or-
No, whoever.
Anybody.
But then you also have to send notification to all
Abutters.
abutters on the road,
And the petitioners have to pay for that.
which might be the town.
Not if they didn't submit the petition.
Well, if the road agent submitted the petition, does it take one person or 25?
25?
So who's gonna sign that? Dan?
What we have here,
So you can write the RSA, Becky. You can look up the RSA and do the petition warrant. Not the petition warrant article.
The select one.
231.89.
I knew it was 230 something. 230.
And then someone's gotta get Richard to say the names of the roads.
I can get Richard.
But then you need all those
But
coordinates that
then,
he just read.
all the coordinates.
No, we don't need those coordinates, come on.
Well,
Can't we
You
Well,
amend
do.
that next?
you're not gonna close all of Chicago Lake Road.
Right.
no,
So you
It's
gotta
like a
say
1
from
mile
where to where.
section.
you gotta say from where to
Not
where.
even a
So,
mile.
so
It's
right
not
now,
even a mile. I know right where it is.
my understanding is
Behind
you
the
do
lake,
all of
it's like
Hemingway
half a mile.
Road,
You do what?
It's a
all
cutoff.
of Hemingway Road, from 113A to,
See, that's a dimension.
Yes, because I guess that offshoot piece is called
AMC Lane.
AMC.
so you don't do it all, you do it from the intersection to,
Yeah,
from intersection to intersection.
yeah, that one.
And then on Chicago Lake Road, you do it from John Watkins
Intersection of
John Watkins driveway to the Philbrook neighborhood intersection.
Yeah.
And then on Pine
They're all on the
Grounds
website,
Road.
the names of the roads.
Huh?
They're all on the website, because Richard gave them to us and we put it as a notice.
Yeah, but it's not the coordinates, that's the problem. The roads are there, but they don't close the full road.
Well, we know, you don't have to have the coordinates. You can
It says
say,
where they
from such and
close
such
from.
driveway
It
to
does?
the
Okay.
intersection of so-and-so.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through all those coordinates.
Just, yeah.
Even if you put from one road a half mile in or whatever.
I don't have his webpage, the web page up, so I can't see it.
Somebody have their hand raised?
I did. Can I just respectfully disagree? I've been serving on the road study committee since 2006. We've been struggling to find road references in the past that were from Thomas's land to Webster's land, with no idea who those individuals are anymore. At the time, they knew exactly who those people were and where they lived. Now, 150 years later, 200 years later, it's not so easy to figure out.
No, Dave, you got me confused. What?
I'm talking about doing a warrant article with a reference that's parochial, it's local. You know what it is now. In 200 years, who will know whose driveway that is? Right? Those person will no longer live at that driveway. So the names that you use.
Well, I'm sure in 200 years, it's gonna change 200 times, because it could be somebody that's going to build a house 3 houses down from where the road's closed, and he's not gonna be able to close it there, so he's gonna have to move it back or readjust.
You're gonna need another town vote.
Correct.
Right.
But it won't change until that change happens, and then if that happens to be 80 years before that change happens, then the information could no longer be correct.
It doesn't matter, we can write the article up. I realize the section points, we could do that next. I know what he's put up on the website, but the whole issue is, we all have to come back together to vote this warrant.
Question?
And majority.
Could you write it up as close as you can in the warrant article, and then on the floor of town meeting, just say, I would like to amend the wording of the warrant article to say,
To be more specific.
I'll give you the points right now. Somebody describes to me the set of roads. I mean, I'm not trying to.
Well, see, this is, I don't know, because it just says meter road. I don't know from what point to what point is.
Although meter road, they don't close the full thing because
That's what
there's
we
a
need.
driveway, so it's down.
Right, so it's from it's from the
75
Boydens
Yeah.
to the end of the road.
I hate to say this, but I think at this point, I'd really like
Just to let it go to next
to
year.
postpone it till next year when we can do it right, not try to, I mean, we're at the 11th hour
We're
and then
piecemealing
some.
this thing together.
Again, our goal was to start this process so much earlier, so we had weeks that we could pull back together, and then we didn't get there, so. Next year, we'll start budget in August, so we
We'll
can.
write it now.
started in July, it doesn't help.
Right.
Well, does that mean no meeting tomorrow?
You're off.
Maybe, we haven't
That's a
finished
day
this one.
off.
Oh, it's going on.
We said maybe,
You
we
can have
haven't
one
finished
just
this
for
one.
you.
I just don't, I just don't think we can do it properly to get it on there.
I agree.
So, can we vote on this tonight, or do we have to come back tomorrow?
Well done, then, that way.
We can vote on it tonight. How'd that make you feel?
Makes Rhonda feel good because it'll be done.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Oh, jeez.
I need permission to speak since I don't live in the
Yes,
town.
no, you,
But I just wanted to remind you, there was a snafu last time with the posting, and you had to redo your vote all over again. Did you appoint someone to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yeah,
You
and
did
it's
that.
even on, it's even on this one, it has to be posted by.
Okay, I just wanna make sure you have it out of your head. I don't wanna have to come out twice.
And then you guys re-voted on what you voted on before 6 o'clock.
we haven't got through this yet.
We have to finish this.
I make a motion that the warrant has been amended tonight be signed by the Board of Selectmen as a warrant for 2020 town meeting.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Did somebody second that?
Yes, I'm sorry.
So we still need to come in because we need to sign the final document.
Correct.
Because it would look really bad signing the draft.
And we will email you as soon as it's in final.
But it's gotta be signed before
Thank you,
Tuesday,
everybody, for,
right?
alrighty.
I make a motion that we ratify the votes that we took between
5 and 6.
5 and 6 p.m. today's date,
The sixth.
the 6th of February.
To cover the Selectmen's minutes for January 23rd, 2020, and January 29th, 2020.
Did you get that, Beck?
It's on the agenda, I'm just reading it right off the agenda. The Selectmen's non-public minutes for January 23rd, 2022, and January 29th, 2020. 2 accounts payable manifests dated February 7th, 2020. Payroll manifest dated February 13th, 2020. Current use stewardship plan, map 414-53, 78 and 80. Current use stewards plan, map 414-7-78.1, 79 and 81. Boston Kane proclamation, and the letter to Parker stating he was reinstated. Parker Roberts.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Did that include the intent to cut?
No, sorry,
That's okay.
I don't have that one. What was the intent to cut?
There was an intent to cut
For map 420, lot 49
yes.
and 50.
on Route 25
I
Bear Camp
amend my
Highway.
motion to cover that intent to cut as well.
And I second your amendment, it's my amendment.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck with that.
With that being said, is there any further business that needs to be brought before this board tonight?
Yes, but we're not
I
done.
am so sorry. I would like to bring up, and maybe should have done it at a different point, but I want to bring up the Tamworth Police Department Facebook page. That is a town Facebook page. There was a posting made on there about the petition to do the warrant. I have no issues with that. However, what I took issue with were the comments made on that Facebook posting that were allowed to be made to anybody who made any comment whatsoever that did not look good to the masses on there. They were rude, they were disrespectful, they were sarcastic, and I don't feel that the town of Tamworth should allow a Facebook page that has such disrespectful and unprofessional postings on it. That should have been pulled. The chief should have pulled it. Somebody should have pulled it. But that Facebook page belongs to the town of Tamworth. Other people see that Facebook page, and I can only imagine what they must think. Personally, I don't care. You can make any comment you want to me, but I think that was a very disgraceful posting that was done. And it should come off, as well as the posting made about the stolen vehicle, again with the sarcastic comments aimed at anybody who made a comment, as well as the Board of Selectmen. That should not be allowed to stay. I think both those postings should be required to be pulled off that Facebook page. You can post whatever you want on your personal page, I don't care. But on a town Facebook page, that is a disgrace to the town to allow those comments to be made.
I think it should have been monitored more, because some of them didn't pertain to the petition, that they should have been removed.
I don't know how Facebook works. I don't have it anymore, like 5 years ago. But is there a way that when you post something, you can say, like, as soon as you post it, to not allow comments on posts? Maybe that could be something going forward. And
again, we've got a
We
lot
need a
of
social
Facebook
media.
pages out there that represent the town.
Yeah.
It's,
even some of the departments weren't aware they had those, the overseers of those departments didn't realize, so we're working on that.
We need a really good social media
Yeah.
policy.
Because there was an issue with the fire department one too earlier, I mean, but, and a lot of people that are posting and running them out aren't even residents of the town. But I don't think they should be insulting volunteers, the selectmen, volunteer budget committees, or any of them.
They were even attacking each other.
I mean, it's just, but I mean, it's uncalled for, and the administrators of those accounts have the option to rip that off. And maybe they need to be told to.
I couldn't agree with you more.
It can be addressed.
Yeah, we need a social media policy, we've been working on that, so.
Dave?
Can I just make a recommendation? I know it takes time to create a social media policy because they're way complicated. Just shut it all down until you have the policy. Because the town is at risk.
I agree.
There's a website when there's, you know, roads, you know, if a road's closed because of an accident or something and they wanna put it on the website. I mean, I even had a comment from Sheriff Ricciardi, when I spoke with him yesterday, that he monitors the Facebook page, and he did not like what was being posted.
I think it was very unprofessional and it was very inappropriate. And I'll even add to that, I think it was very inappropriate and unprofessional of the chief to vote, to post on the town website after the board had selected, had voted unanimously to disapprove the 2 police officers, and then for him to post it on the Tamworth Police Department paid by the town, a warrant article going circumventing the Board of Selectmen. I think it was very unprofessional, it's uncalled for, and I don't think that that's ever happened, ever, in the
We don't
past.
pay for Facebook.
I do have to add too that he did, cause you can respond to those statements, or like them, and he did check off, he was one of the people that liked one of those comments. Which But also you can it was- tell because you can click on it and see the list of people who have liked that comment. And I think that's appalling. But also, it read in there that you could stop at the police department to sign that warrant article. If he wants a warrant article, it ought to be doing it out of uniform somewhere else. He shouldn't be taking the time that he's too busy to, you know, he shouldn't have people going in there signing it. It should be elsewhere. Because the people that are in there are supposed to be working on police stuff. That isn't.
I know you don't want to hear me say this again. I've said it numerous times since I got on this finance thing. The 5 of you people are in charge of this town. He is not the boss. You people are the boss. You're the elected people. It sounds to me like it's time to set him down and have some understanding on some rules and regulations, because you people are in charge of the police department. He is not, he can't just go and do whatever he sees fit. I don't think that's right. I don't think, like Mrs. Poirier said, I don't think it's fair to the townspeople, the taxpayers, and I think it's going to cause him, it's going to come back and bite him. It's causing him a lot of headaches for some of this stuff that is going on, and I don't think it should be allowed. I think you people have to step in.
And I think it should be mentioned to him.
Okay.
Kelly's got a comment.
I just wanna say that I think that if you had a policy in place, that is when you could actually really address any specific issue and just say that this is not, it's against policy, and you don't do it, and it just nips it right.
And that's what I said.
Yeah.
Majority of people did not know these pages existed. We brought up the Facebook page of the fire department, and the fire wards did not even know there was a Facebook page. So we need a social media policy to pull in. That's the same way we're trying to pull in the web pages, because I realize certain people it might cost a lot, but the whole point is to keep everything that refers to the town of Tamworth in an umbrella where people can monitor it.
One of the things, I took a social media class, and one of the things is, if, let's say, the police department posted that, any comments related to the police department have to stay. Anything that's made about the fire department or the selectmen or the road agent, those are the comments you can pull. Anything to do with the police department, that you can't remove it, because it's a police department Facebook page, and that was a police department post. People can say on the police department post what a joke the police department is, and they can belittle the police department, you can't remove that comment. What was told at this social media thing, attorneys hate social media. All social media. And if you get a negative comment, the best thing to do is keep posting pictures of kittens and flowers or whatever to bury that post so it's down, so you filled up everybody's page. But
they can remove the whole post.
They can remove anything that is not directly speaking of the department that has the website.
That it posted. Thank you.
So we have a work session next week and we can discuss whether we're taking down pages. That can be a board vote that.
And once again, when
they're
they
shut down until a policy's written.
And Artie, I just wanted to explain one thing.
Yeah.
Police chiefs under statute have a whole different thing than, say, a town administrator. I mean, or a clerk or something. There's a special statute that deals with police officers, or not with police officers, but with police chiefs and their authorities. So we need to also make sure that we're not stepping out of line, because when you step out of line, it generally costs money.
Okay.
But I don't disagree with you that this needs to be dealt with.
And I think the other thing that we know down the road is, you can correct me, but Primex also has a social media training thing, as well as many others, that we just pull our department heads that have the social media in, we bring them in, we let them hear from a liability standpoint what social media is about, because when we did an employee one, a couple department heads went, wow, I didn't know I couldn't do that, so.
Well, my question would be, is do we as a board have the authority to shut down the Tamworth Police Department's Facebook or the Fire Department's Facebook up until the point where we can get a social media policy in effect?
I think we can, I'm pretty sure we can if they're representing the town.
Yeah, that's definitely, I would think, represent the town. Could you run that question by our town lawyer?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Can
because
Ed
I'm
make a
sitting here
comment?
thinking, I'm not sure.
I can always make a comment.
What do you,
Yes,
is that
go ahead.
something you've,
I would go to legal because there are court cases where people sued for freedom of speech infringement.
Yeah.
So, first of all, you can set your Facebook page up, so you have to look at what everybody posts before they post it. I'm kind of befuddled. It sounds like the chief, not electioneered, he basically promoted something that
a
he
petition?
I don't know if you should ask the attorney about
But the
that
question
too.
is, if he should post on that website, please show up at town meeting and vote for this, that's electioneering.
Ask legal before you do anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that
Robin,
pushes
can
the
you
envelope.
run that by and explain that exactly what happened, that he posted it on Facebook and that we don't have a social media policy, and our concern is that he's doing this and that we need to shut these down before we get, until we get the policy in effect? And was it legal for him to post that on his page?
Is it his personal page or?
No.
No, it says Tamworth, New
Tamworth
Hampshire.
Police
Somebody has to sign for it.
Who authorized the formation of the Facebook page?
That's the problem, there has never been anything for fire, police, or whatever. This is not the
Just
only
did it
Tamworth Police
There's
Department
three-
page out there, there's 3 pages out there. It's like the rec department, we asked the rec department to start a page to communicate. He did, his posts are generally just to the rec
Games
department.
canceled, practice starts,
Stuff like
things like
that.
that.
So, and then the fire department had theirs way back because the fire wards weren't quite aware of it, but they keep theirs pretty much there too, except they did ask to come to town meeting to vote for something. It was, the ambulance,
But I do believe that.
and that's been changed.
A few months back, it was put in there that the finance committee had recommended
They had
raising $225,000. We
Right.
did not have a clue about, we did not recommend
Right.
it, we never even saw his budget yet, but somebody put that in there.
So I think those 3 pages are the ones that truly represent the name of the city, the town of Tamworth.
I don't know if the economic development has one.
We don't-
We don't,
They
that I'm
don't.
aware of.
Yeah, they do.
A Facebook page?
Oh, no, I'm thinking of the other group that ties in with economic development.
Yeah, the TVC does, but
Right.
the TVC's not part of the EDC.
Right,
TDC is not part of the town.
right.
The TVC is not.
Yes, that's what I said, yeah.
Right.
I just think that, you know, there's so many different policies and things change so much, but it's another important reason to have 5 selectmen because there's so much to look into and write it and all that. And when you go back down to 3, there's just so much more that needs to be done. That's, you know, I mean, you're trying to really clean up from years ago of things that didn't get taken care of. I mean, Facebook's been out for a long time, and there's no social media program, policy. But I really think it's
And
important.
my point of view is, the Facebooks that were out there, the police department Facebook, they've never been abused, in my opinion.
Was there one when you were?
Yes. It was strictly to provide police information,
Yeah.
coming and going. It wasn't used as a political tool to circumvent the Board of Selectmen.
Because the other problem we have is you change department heads or whatever, that page never disappears, somebody decides they wanna name it something different because they don't wanna use
Because
that
whoever
page.
the administrator maybe got done or something.
And then you've got 20 of
And
them
that's where
out
the
there.
selectmen should know everybody who's the administrator, so that if something like that happens, you guys can get in there and get rid of
Or
it.
you can pull the page down.
And that's why it's great to have a policy in place,
Yeah.
because then it doesn't matter who is there.
does it, yeah.
It's a policy, it's there.
And I agree, but we don't have, so what we need to do is shut it down until the policy is written, then have them bring it up.
As long as it's legally able to be done.
Correct.
That's why we gotta ask the lawyer.
But there's also a thing like, I mean, the people that are at work and they're liking and posting things on Facebook and they're getting paid by us taxpayers, that should be in that policy too. They shouldn't be on their phone during their work time, things like that, you know?
What that's called is theft of services. Because, and there are people that you can see that are on Facebook during working hours.
That will be in the policy. It has to be a comprehensive policy, how to set it up, who's the administrator, who can take them down, who's monitoring it, and how's it abused.
We will get the opine from the lawyer and we will discuss this further on our work session next Thursday.
Thank you.
What time is it next?
5 o'clock.
5.
I just have one quick thing. As the chairperson of the advisory budget committee, we submitted our advisory committee recommendations for 2020. They're available on the website and here, I think. I'd just like to say thank you to the board and thank you to Artie and Madeline. I think this year went really well. It went more smoothly than years previous. There's hiccups always, but hopefully if there's a budget committee for next year and the municipal one doesn't go through for any reason, that meeting as a group with the department heads seem to cut down a lot on going back and forth.
Absolutely.
And on behalf of the board, we'd like to thank you very much for your service. You guys provided, a plethora of information, and we really appreciate everything that you have done. And we know that you put a lot of hours into it, and thank you.
But that's not gonna get you out of coming to town meeting.
Yes.
I think I'm booked.
On that being said, past my bedtime.
He's got one more.
Quick. You probably all saw the obituary for Mr. Weymouth in the paper.
Yep.
Yes.
And it was a shame that it wasn't mentioned, I don't think it was in there, about the post cane, which I'm not blaming you folks, because members of the family draw that up, but it was just kind of a shame that being in Tamworth so long that it wasn't mentioned that he did hold the post cane, and it would have been nice for the town. Oh, and the other thing, one more. Have you selected a cover picture for the...
Is it me?
Mum's the word.
Yeah, it's you.
Mum's the word.
All right, good.
I asked first.
Yeah, I know you did.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.